Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one of the most exciting days of the 59th International Biel Chess Festival, as we are following the action from the Masters and Challengers triathlon events, and today we will be following the Blitz event in both tournaments. So essentially today we are going to figure it out who is going to make it to the final four and which players they will be leaving after today's amazing Blitz event. So we'll be here to provide you some expert commentary, and hopefully you will have some great time. My name is Artur Nekšans. I'm a Grandmaster from Latvia, together with the ever-charming Angelika Volkova. So Angelika, wow, what a day ahead of us.
Absolutely, I fully agree. We had so much behind of us. Chess 960 Rapid. We had the round robin with the 5 rounds of the classical. It was absolutely exciting. But Blitz, today we'll find out our top names who will qualify for the final stage. And we might say goodbye, not only for the 4, but maybe even for the 6 players. Who knows who's going to stay?
Yeah, because that's essentially all about the final stage, because today the players, they play this Blitz event, they are going to get extra maximum 10 points. And in case the leader is ahead of the 4th place more than 12 points, then we say, unfortunately, to that player, goodbye. So let's talk about the format of the Blitz event. It's going to be a double round-robin event, 10 rounds of games. The time control is 3 minutes plus 2 seconds. The classical Blitz time control there is. The scoring system is the classical one, 1 point for the victory, half a point for a draw, 0 for a loss. And Angelika, of course, it counts together for the total score to determine who is going to get to the final stage.
The format is super important at the Biel Chess Festival, counting together Rapid, Classical, and now Blitz is coming. Here we have the current standings. So what does it mean for our players that anyone can potentially get 10 points from today, winning all the rounds and getting up to the leaderboard? In the Masters, we see Levon Aronian still leading the field, half a point at least, 16.5 right now. Adin Suleimanli half a point behind him. For Limle, it was yesterday a very tough game, but 15 points, still he is in the top 3. But it's Yezer Dogmush with 13 points, who has to be worried a little bit, because there is Matthias Blubaum behind him with the 10 points, and Jose Martinez, who is known to be so amazing in the faster formats.
I have a feeling that Jose today is going to have a great day, because he's been struggling a bit in the previous events, and he's really a speed demon when it comes to playing online, so everything can be totally changing after today's Blitz event. But when we talk about the Generations Challenge tournament, you see there's one clear leader. His name is Václav Finek, the young player from Czech Republic. Then we have 2 players in a hot pursuit, Marco Matera against Xiao Tong. They have 17 points each. But again, a very big question is if Carissa Yip, Alexandra Kosayuk, or perhaps Vaishali can still make it to this final stage, because they cannot fall behind from the tournament leader. Could it be Václav Finek more than 12 points?
And also there is a special rule, Arturs, when we have all those points accumulated together, if the 4th place is more than 12 points behind the 1st place, he or she is not qualifying, because there is no potential way that this person is going to score the 1st place, winning all 3 games, and the 1st place, let's say, losing all 3 games. So for that reason, in the Masters, I see that some players can stay there, but in the Challenger, there could be some big issues.
And here we see the round pairings for the first round. This is going to be the first round robin, so to speak. I think there's also going to be some pauses. By the way, as you can see in the background, there is an open event, Blitz event, happening at the same time. So the start of the rounds will be synchronized. And we are essentially waiting for the first round to start. I hear there's also going to be a special guest to make the very first move. And of course, as usual, the main event is happening on this very beautiful stage with this red wall. There's even a red carpet.
Yeah, of course. Red wall, red carpet. We see a beautiful playing hall. I mean, it's mentioned by many of our players participating in our Master Triathlon. One of the most beautiful playing venue, and also from architecture point of view, that's as also Levon Aronian was sharing it in one of our impressions video. By the way, dear viewers, you can check those on our YouTube and Instagram and all of our socials. But yeah, exciting rounds that we have here. And well, I mean, which pairing would you say, Artus, is the most exciting for you for the
I
first?
think all of them pretty much. Of course, we are going to try to follow the leaders maybe first. For example, Von Ronian against Matthias Bluebaum for Bluebaum. Again, it's a chance maybe immediately to show his class with the very first game. I mean, yesterday they played this classical game, which was real fireworks, and it ended up with a peaceful outcome, but it was not really boring to watch at any moment. Also, in the Challenger tournament, Václav Finnick against Carissa Yip. This is the chance for Carissa, also for Vaishali versus Kostyuk. Start well, get the momentum, and get those points.
And this is so important to get this momentum, Artus. Also, in the Chess 960 and Rapid, we saw when the rounds coming one after another, it's so much tougher to recover. I remember Yezer Dogmush losing game against Aydin Suleymanli, completely winning endgame, and then losing the next one, then the next one. And it was happening the same with Levon Aronian when he lost his game against Aydin, then he also lost the second one. So it was, you know, as you were saying, mistakes coming in pairs, also losses coming in pairs sometimes. So in the top of the leaderboard, our players will really have to try to push and give their best. And by the way, here we see Alexandra Kostyuk. Currently, she's on the 4th place, potentially qualifying, sharing together with Carissa and Limle, the 3-time Grandmaster Triathlon winner of the Biel Chess Festival. Always a pleasure to see him. Yesterday was a very tough game for him, but today is a new day and new chance to qualify for the finals.
Absolutely, yes. So he's looking for ways to break yesterday's bad moment he had there because he blundered a piece against Aydin Suleymanli. Here, Matthias Bluebaum, he looks to be in good spirits. He's smiling. It's really hard, to be honest, to predict who's going to do well here in the Blitz event because very often I do believe it really depends with which leg you stepped out of your bed this morning, how you had a proper night's sleep, how you had a very good first game, and then you just go with the momentum and see where it's going to take you. Here we see the young Frenchman, Marco Materia. What is he looking there?
No water.
He's asked, are you sitting at the right seat? Yes, yes.
No, they're just asking them to remove the water so that we can see him, the beautiful banner and everything much better. This is, of course, a practice that's used mostly on the top rated tournaments so that we can see the position. And meanwhile, also in the open Blitz tournament, we see players are getting seated. As we know, the first round started before, half an hour earlier, because altogether they'll have 11 rounds, while in Grandmaster Triathlon we'll have 10 rounds. So the players are already ready for their second round. And yeah, eventually Biel Chess Festival is about fun. It's about chess and gathering over 15 events together in one tournament. Oh, Artus, I would love to play. If you're not commentating, I would really love to play.
Yeah, of course, me too, especially on the stage here. The players are seated, they're getting ready. We saw also some photographers making some pictures, so everything will be synchronized. Also, we're waiting for this ceremonial first move to be played. Do we have any information on that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have the move for the yes or dogmush. So we're waiting also for that. But I think players are also getting seated, getting ready. By the way, Vaishali is there. It's her final chance, you know, today to strike. For Levon, it's chance to extend the lead from the others. And here we have it. So Limle against Yes or Dogmush. I think also one of the important clashes. I mean, so many clashes that you know I want to follow them simultaneously. I would love them to play game one by one, but it's unfortunately not possible. So we'll have to always try to stick to the main game here. And Carissa Yup, we are sitting there. So we have first move for the Jose Martinez apparently.
Yeah, that's move E4.
And it was done today by Damian Nedovic from the TD Cinex Switzerland, and he is making it for Jose Martinez. Let's see. Okay, he's moving back, but he might still stick with the move. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible, not really mandatory. Actually, I wish sometimes the special guest would make some funny moves like G4 or A4, just to bring a smile from the players. Václav Finnick against Carissa Yip. Also, look at this. Some of the players are in the suits, but I also saw, for example, Ardomush sitting there in a T-shirt because I think when you're playing a Blitz game, you need to have a lot of freedom, the way you move, and it's about to start.
Absolutely. Well, and you know, Arthur's chess is essentially a sport. So as we know, in the many different sports, there are people wearing some sport clothes, T-shirts, and so on, getting comfortable. And especially in the Blitz, you need more time.
And the games are starting officially. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're following the game of Matthias Bluebaum against Levon Ronian. D4, D5, C4, C6. Immediately going for some really sharp stuff. And look at the speed they're playing it out. They really know this stuff.
Ooh, they're playing it all out. They have been preparing. And we see that the pawn was captured and e5 is pushed. Oh, the moves are happening so fast. So what we can shortly say, it's a Slav defense in the position. Black is having extra pawn, and white is getting more space in the center.
Yeah, they're playing very quickly here. Also, white just played b3, black immediately played bishop a6, not protecting the pawn on c4. Also, knight e7 here. So I don't think, again, we are going to have many opportunities to draw a lot of arrows, explain everything in detail. We'll just focus on what we have at present here. Here in this game, Aronian versus Bluebaum, I think white is going to recapture the pawn on c4. This is precisely what happened. There is some pressure against the pawn on c6, as you can see here, but at least according to an engine, the position is still balanced. I'm not really sure if in a blitz game it matters, but so far, the players are playing high-class chess.
You have also to watch out for some c5 breaks, which will happen in the position. By the way, immediately played by Levon, so apparently it's working, probably due to the some chances of bringing the rook out and pinning the pawn. So let's see how Matthias is going to react in this position.
Makes sense to accept it. D takes on c5 is on the board. A pawn is a pawn. After all, you could always protect it, even by something like c6. Levon pauses for a moment. That's a bit surprising because I would have thought that he already had decided what's he going to continue. Is it going to be something like queen c7, hit a pawn on c5, or go after the pawn on e5, or maybe there's other ideas? No, rook c8.
Yeah, there are some ideas, but of course just going for the pawn. And as we know, if black is just striking with a c5, trading the pawns, only problem could be this e5 pawn. It looks to me that it's just dividing positions into half. In this opening, and maybe some attack on the king side, something what white can watch out for.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. It's a great call, like c6. Okay, I think that here Matthias says pretty much goodbye to the pawn on c6. I don't think he can hold it, but like you said, Angelika, I'm thinking that if white could somehow teleport the queen to g4, it's a very common square for these positions when you have the pawn on e5. Eyeball for the pawn on h6, go for some attack, because one thing I have definitely noticed in blitz games is that it really matters if you have an attack.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense to start attack, and your opponent will not have so much time, try to figure it out. Knight b8 now attacking the pawn. Of course, black has to spend some time to take the pawn, and this is a time which Matthias now can try to use to produce some attacking opportunities.
Knight d4. I was actually thinking more like knight g3, but okay, he is going to try to protect his pawn. My idea was to remove the other knight, put it here, play queen g4, and go for this attack. Knight d4 also seems to be reasonable. Like you can play stuff like maybe rook fc1, rook ab1, hold on to the pawn. And here Ronian is thinking, is he really out of the prep here?
No, he looks like that he is not, and he's now attacking the queen. But doesn't it just help white to relocate the queen to the king side? The problem is the knight is hanging. So you have to watch out. And you have to also watch out where do you step away with the queen, because you don't want your queen to be pinned. Wow, queen d5. We see Arnan in his element being super active, super creative, finding all these ideas. He's not capturing the pawn, but first, he's trying to improve all his pieces and the queen in the game.
Looks really interesting. Queen d5 attacking the knight on e4, hitting the pawn on c6. Again, if I'm white, I'm thinking about those attacking chances. But how do I do it? The knight on e4 is under attack. Can I play rook e1, queen g3? Or do I toss in the knight on d6? But again, I have a feeling that this pawn on e5... Oh, by the way, the pawn on e5 is also under attack, not only the knight on e4. It's a great practical move here by the Armenian player.
And if you're trying to defend the pawn, how do you do so? Wow,
Whoa,
we have
knight
a
f6.
sacrifice!
Wow. I was looking at this, but I was afraid to call it out because I didn't really believe it. It might work, but Matthias spent here like 20 seconds and he found it. The point is after g takes on f6, there's going to be bishop takes on h6, queen g3, and white has at least some sort of an attack or maybe at least material balance.
He's playing creatively and against one of the most creative chess players in the world. What a challenge from the German grandmaster. Matthias, he sacrifices a knight, and will they see the attack going? By the way, what's the next move? Because now queen e5, taking the pawn, stopping all kind of queen g3. Where do you bring a queen? And what do you do actually here? Do you play?
Rook e1, yeah, something.
Oh,
Yeah, Rook e1 is on the board, and actually I love the body expression of Ronnie. He's like, I'm not impressed. I also fully expected the being sacrificed here. So what Matthias is saying here that he can always take on f8 whenever he wants, but he wants to play something like Rook e3, Rook g3, and go after the black king. As you can see, the valuation bar favors white.
yeah, and it would be such a huge result for overall standings because Levon is currently leading the tournament. So important for Matthias to strike, but Queen h5 is on the board. He's attacking the bishop, asking some question. Would Matthias just defend the bishop or give some checks? So it's a bit tricky position.
Very difficult moment here because you can play Queen g3, Queen g6, trade the queens, take on f8, take the pawn on e6, or instead you take on f8 immediately and try to go for the attack. Which is the right choice?
And he's giving up the bishop.
So he is going for the attack. Queen
Ooh.
h6, brilliant idea. Rook g3, Rook h3. Black gonna take the bishop because he's gonna drop the queen.
Absolutely insane. Second brilliant move for Matthias Blübaum in this game for sacrificing knight. Now sacrificing the bishop because you cannot take it, you will lose the queen. What will Levon do in this position?
It's all about the attack, and only 45 seconds for each player. Rook g3 is a massive move. Again, Engine says that black is fine, but it really matters who is the one who is attacking, and his name is Matthias Blübaum.
Yeah, Matthias can do so. You should not mess with him. He is a bit nervous, we can see from his body language. But of course, you would be if you're playing against someone like Levon Aronian. By the way, 26 seconds right now for Levon. He has to make a decision.
Knight e5, Rook g3, King h. I think something like Queen d3, Rook h3 makes sense. I have a feeling that the Ronin wants to give away the queen. Exactly that happens. King h6, Rook h3. He's going to try to set up some kind of a fortress. But here it is Blübaum who has excellent winning chances.
Yeah, because he's going to have a very naked king there on the king side, and you can easily bring your rook to the game. You can just push your pawn and bring the rook over there. You also have a knight in the position. Of course, if we count material, it's rook and two pieces against rook, but we just bring the rook.
Rook d1, Rook d3, Rook g3. Watch out for this idea. Aronian needs to figure out where to place the king. Probably King g7 and run for his life
Or
against the
F4.
attack.
Or f4, Rook f3. Also just bringing.
Also here, Rook d1 is a move. So here, Blübaum has at least a draw in his pocket.
Oh, he's thinking, will he continue the attack or not? And he has half a minute right now on the clock, 30 seconds. He's trying to make up his mind. He has a draw in the pocket. Will he go for it or will he attack?
Black can also play Rook g8, and that's what Matthias is trying to calculate. So Rook g8, King g7, King f8. Can he afford to go for more? I think so, but the more time he's spending here, it looks like he might force the draw. Or is he still going to try to play it for the win?
10 seconds. He's giving a check. One more check.
Only plus 2 seconds per every move. It looks like it's going to be a
Repeats.
draw. There's a draw. Wow.
Okay. We have another games ongoing. I suggest to go to one game which is still happening in the Generations Challenge. Tong Shao against Alexander Kostyuk.
Dong Xiao. All right, let's go. Dong Xiao against Alexander Kostyuk. Here we go. Here the Chinese Grandmaster has an extra pawn. He's trying to convert. Again, both players are down to the last 20 seconds.
Yeah, and there is an extra pawn there for white, trying to convert this one.
F4. Kostyuk is in trouble. King g4. It's pretty easy to play for white. Like, you just want to push the rook forward, play a4, a5, a6, a7. And here black needs to be careful not to blunder the knight.
Yeah, you have to be really careful here, and we see king is running forward, giving some checks.
It's also very interesting because this is essentially a repeat of yesterday's classical game, except here they are switched colors. Yesterday, Tong Xiao defeated Kostyuk with a black color in a great game.
Yeah, and today it's all going to be all about if Alexander will have managed to defend this position. But no, the rook is coming even more forward. King is trying to target those pawns.
Looks like it's winning. h4, h5. I think black's going to drop at least another pawn. The knight on f6 is such a monster, but do not underestimate the knights, because in a time scramble, forks are very commonly blown. Watch out for the knight on c6. Almost a fork.
Almost a fork, just a check, stepping away now with the king. Oh, it's going to continue. Knight, one more time check, finding all opportunities of the checks and trying to get at least one of those pawns on the king side.
King e4 was the safe move. Knight c6. Black is trying to limit the white rook at a6. Takes a second pawn here. Knight f6. Go back. Now you have a choice. A pawn or h pawn. One of them is going to become a queen.
One of them is marching forward. What is it going to be? Rook a8. Now offering ideas later on to push pawn all the way to h8.
Yeah, the knight is such a tricky piece here. Knight e7, king g4, rook g2. Tong Xiao should be able to win this. Kostyuk is down to the last seconds, but also only 5 seconds for the Chinese player.
Many tricks in the position, but he has to watch out. he will be able to. So king c5 coming forward into the game.
5 seconds you could take
Oh,
on
you cannot
h6,
take.
h7. Yeah, that was a small trick. Discovered attack. The pawn on h6 is defended. Ooh, the king on e4 feels to be in danger. Is there no mate? No, there's no mate.
And there's
What?
no fork.
No fork. You
It's
have to be
almost
super
fork.
careful.
He's always have to step away in the opposite color of where the rook is standing. When it's on the light, you have to step on the dark squares.
I think you can take on d6, rook f6. Yeah, and white should be able to win this. Yeah, this is already technical winning position. White has two extra pawns. The pawn on a2 doesn't really matter. And here, I think that Tonsha will be able to convert this to the victory.
Yeah, we have one more game ongoing of Limle against Yezer Dogmush if you want to check it out.
Let's go to that game here. I think the Chinese player will win. And by the way, he just won by resignation. We immediately go to game Limle against Yezer Domush. Obstacle of bishops. Oh, yeah, that's the kind of position you can play for a very long time.
Oh, extra pawn, opposite color bishop. You want to try and to promote, but how can you do it?
Yeah, here black just accurately put the... No, he didn't play bishop c5. I would have thought that you want to block white's pawns. Watch out for c5, d6 here. Here, the Vietnamese grandmaster is the one who is asking some questions. Yes, has to be careful.
Look at this, and now c5 was a threat, but bishop d4, of course, stopping the threat in the position. And now bishop c5, as you're mentioning, your idea is stopping the pawn coming forward.
I think this is the kind of position you can play legally for a very long time because according to FIDE rules, you can... Oh, wait! No, there was a rook blunder. No, it was the transmission error.
Okay. No rook blunders on the board, some checks.
King
Still some tries.
f6. Okay, yeah, black activates the king. The king is no longer cut off. Everything is doing really well. King f3, some small tricks. The bishop on f5 is hanging, but so was the black bishop on e3.
Yeah, trying to trade those bishops, because if you trade, there could be some opportunity for a victory here with the rook endgame, but no.
That doesn't look like he can do it, yeah?
And the draw was agreed.
And it's a draw.
Wow.
What a game. What a
Very
first round.
exciting game.
Let's check the results of the first round. As you can see, all the games are officially over, and we just saw the game of Limle versus Erdomic finished. As you can see, Aidinsele Mainly continues his winning streaks after yesterday by defeating Jose Martinez with a black card. Limle against Yezer Domush finishing a draw. Matthias Bluvam against Lavon Ronian. We also followed this game, and it was a peaceful outcome.
And in Generation Challenge, we have all decisive results. Dong Shao extending in the lead, top 3 places, and Alexander Kosniuk has to suffer a loss to him. Vaishali, unfortunately, also losing, and Marco Matera scores a point. Václav Finek wins against Carissa Yup. It looks like the top of the leaderboard in Generations Challenge are getting more and more points and extending the lead from the bottom.
And you see the rankings have changed because we have a new leader, and his name is Aidinsele Mainly. He's sharing the lead together with Lavon Ronian together with 17 points. Limle is 1.5 points behind for Jose Martinez. This was a chance to get back into contention, of course. 9 more rounds to go, but as for the challengers, yeah, for ladies, this was a tough start.
Absolutely tough start, and top 3 places, Václav Finek, Marco Matera, and Xiao Dong extending their lead by 1 point after the first round of Blitz for Carissa, Alexander, and Vaishali. They'll have to try to come back in the next rounds.
So, dear viewers, this was only the first round, 9 more to go. We are going to make a very, very short break and follow the action from round 2. Stay tuned, be back very soon. Welcome back, dear viewers. We're following the Blitz event from the 59th International Biel Chess Festival, the main event, Masters and Generation Challenge Triathlon Tournament. So we just saw before the break, first round of the Blitz event, already some exciting action here. The second round is about to start. Angelika and me, I'm Arturs. We are at your pleasure here to serve you some expert commentary and hopefully have some good time.
Yeah, here we have the round 2 pairings of the Blitz portion. As you already saw in the first round, pace is going not where we would expect it to go. Someone like Matthias Bluebaum had big chance against Levon Aron, and here we're going to take on Jose Martinez. Levon will play against Lim Le and Yezer Dogmush with white pieces against Aydin Soleimanli. Meanwhile, in Generations Challenge, we have Václav Finek against Xiao Tong, Carissa Yip versus Vaishali Ramesh Babu, and Marco Materia, Alexandra Kostyniuk. These are exciting rounds, and one more time, big question, will the bottom of the leaderboard remain into the game? Because we're seeing in the Generation Channel there are more and more distance from the top, and here is, I think, the battle of the round. What do you think, Arturs?
I think so, yeah, because Soleimanli just became the leader of the triathlon. It's quite an amazing story, to be honest, because he was the late replacement of Noderbeck. What was his name? Not Abdusatorov. Yakoboyev, from Uzbekistan, pardon me, my memory suddenly, there was a jet lag. But the games are starting, and he just joined the festival, essentially agreeing to play 2 days before the start of the event. We have some off-beat Karakan on the board, and for Domush, an excellent chance to get closer to the leader, Soleimanli.
Yesterday he scored a super important win over Jose Martinez in the classical portion, but today is all about the Blitz. Every victory is 1 point, so every game is so important to still keep being in those top 4 of the boards. And we see here some interesting opening. It's some Caro-Kann with Bishop G4.
I have no idea what this is, because normally Bishop G4 would be a blunder. I mean, you take with F6 and you collect the Bishop on G4, but there's another knight for black on G8, so players are still in the prep. And I think it also makes sense that for the Blitz tournament, you play some offbeat lines that your opponent doesn't know, so that you get to win more time.
This is crazy, getting the same bishop. I was also wondering, where is the bishop on G8, but it's still there. Oh, nice. Nice maneuver here for Yezer Dogmush. Stepping back with a bishop on H5.
Yeah, Bishop G6, try to protect the king, see what happens. And here, I think White could play some normal stuff like Knight F3, Knight E5, make a quick choice. You can't really afford to sit for too long, because you're going to need that time at the critical stage of the game.
Yeah, you have to focus right now, try to find moves faster. Yeah, the previous round game, we witnessed Matthias against Levon. They played so fast. That's why Matthias had more time for the critical stage of the game and sacrifice. Here we see the opposite, complete opposite. And I have a feeling that Yes mostly is in his element when he's below on the clock on the time.
And tick-tock, tick-tock. I mean, the time is going. He still has not made a move. This is a bit unusual for a Blitz game, because apparently he has to make a pretty big choice. Queen H4 was just played, and it is a common idea in the Caro-Kann. The idea is that after Bishop G6, he wants maybe to take on F6 and force black to ruin his pawn structure. A good idea.
That's a perfect one. How do you stop it from the Aydin side? I think that's what he's now watching out for. How do you stop this take and capturing the bishop on G6? Because
I mean, yeah, Bishop G6, Knight F6, you can't take with a queen. There's going to be Bishop G5. This is what I didn't saw immediately. And after Bishop G6, Knight F6, if you take with the knight, Bishop G6, you can't take with the H pawn, because the rook on H8 is pinned.
But why do you need to play Bishop G6? Because right now there is no threat in the position due to the knight defending the other knight.
You're asking a very valid question. I don't know. Like, I thought that I didn't play Bishop H5 to put it on G6, and right now he is spending a bit of time. This move, Queen H4, is tricky, and it's not so easy to me. That does he play Bishop E7 here?
Bishop E7 makes sense, because you're putting an X-ray on the queen on H4 in the position, and you're ready for all kind of jumps. And Bishop E7 is on the board.
A Knight G3, wow. Okay, that was the big idea. Well, really tricky play here by the young Turkish player. Look at this. Again, Bishop G6, White takes on G6, ruins Black's pawn structure. The Bishop on H5 is under attack. I mean, how do you defend it? Queen A5 looks just unplayable because of B4. Very difficult moment here for the tournament leader.
Super difficult. How are you going to proceed? Queen A5, you have to calculate in B4, Queen D5. Queen D5 immediately. Wait, c4?
Watch out for queen g2. I mean, there's a couple of lines you have to calculate. All right, so here Ardomas just goes for the bishop here. Knight h5, knight h5. Now the pawn on g2 is under attack, so is the queen. Queen h3. And the Turkish player simply has the bishop pair.
Yeah, the bishop pair is there, and definitely more space advantage here in the position as for Yes. But for Aydin, now he has to try to finish the development and to fix the issue with the knight on h5.
I love the move bishop d6 because it means he wants to put the kingside knight to e7. The knight on h5 is getting probably back to f6 and normalize the position. Knight e2 here, Ardomas takes care of the f4 square.
Yeah, he is now stepping backwards with the knight. Now, always a big question is where is the knight on g8 going, because the knight from b8 is jumping everywhere. But knight f4, another question to queen. Where do you step away with it?
I don't think you want to take it on f4 because it's going to give white a supreme bishop pair advantage, and it's going to be a very easy position play. So that's why queen a4, queen f5, of course, is played.
Yeah, it's happening on the board right now.
Queen c7. Yeah, white obviously castle short. Now the knight on f4 is hit. Queen f3 feels to be risky. There might be a move g5. Do you play g3? I think black is thinking about the long castle and push all of the kingside pawns towards the white king.
Yeah, you would like to start attack here in the position. You would like to keep it sharp, and also considering the time. Again, time is ticking and no decision is made right now. Yezer Dogmush has to play a move in this position.
Is there room for some craziness with knight e6? No, probably not at this level. That's why here white simply defends the knight by playing g3. Seems to be a solid move. A long castle. This is a declaration of war. Black doesn't want to be solid. He simply puts the king on the other side of the board, followed by moves like knight e7, g5, h5, h4. The pawn on g3 is something that black is going to try to use. And immediately Ardomas goes for the attack at the queen side.
Yeah, he's saying, I'm going to attack also on a4, and knight e7 still developing the piece, but g5 is in the air. I have a feeling it will come in the next move, but no, he's stopping with a6 first. And I think now g5 is very close.
You have to watch out, though, for g5, knight x on e6. The knight on f6 could be under attack. And this is precisely the reason why the tournament leader puts the king on b8 to walk away from some unexpected attacks on e6. Engine marks as a miss. Looks a human move to me. And both players are desperately trying to organize some sort of attack against the opponent's king.
Both players are getting lower and lower in the clock. So we have the h5 on the board. How are you going to stop the ideas of h4 coming forward?
I don't like Ardomas' position, not one bit. Engine says the black is only tiny better, but the one thing we know about the Blitz, it's all about who controls the initiative, and clearly it's black. Black is simply faster. h5, h4, open up the h-file, toss every single piece to the opponent, and the bishop pair that white has. It doesn't matter here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter absolutely at all, because position, as you're mentioning, is completely closed. Now, knights are mattering in this position. Jumping with a knight, opening the h-file, doubling on the h-file. This, by the way, what's happening right now? Aydin is getting ready to bring another rook to the h8, and there will be already some big questions to Yes.
Yeah, it's really tough here for white. I have a feeling that he could not afford to go for the queenside attack anymore. Knight f4 was a defensive move. Knight e6, not queen d6 because of bishop f4, but knight takes on d6. So black also has to be a bit careful here.
Yeah, very careful. You cannot yet go for the rook h1. So he's first stepping away, and now
Queen f3, very careful move to play bishop g2. Seems to be that white is slowly getting away from the danger, normalizing the position. So now we are getting a positional fight. Black abandons the direct attack idea.
Yes, and now stepping backwards with the rook. And usually I was told if the bishop is on g2, there is no real attack ongoing. Bishop is defending everything. So it's time for Yes to activate the bishop, and he's doing so.
Yeah, bishop f4, bishop e5, c4, c5 was a major threat, and that's why Suleimanli had to give up the pawn on e6. He has no attack anymore.
And now Yes has an extra pawn in this endgame, which is going to be very important, obviously. And stepping away now with the queen, getting ready to double on the e-file with the rooks.
Still super tricky position. Again, for black, it's a bit easier to play, even though he's down a pawn, he's having some sort of an attack here. And that's why Ardomas immediately tries to use this time to open up the queen side. I think he wants to play d5, c takes on d5, maybe queen d4, and try to get to the king. f5, counterattack from black.
And now d5, just trying to break that center. And now f4 opening up fully white's position. But I see Vladimir goes all the way up, doesn't care about pawn taking on g3.
I don't see where's Black's attack, to be honest. Queen takes on G3, the queens are off the board, and this means that White is getting really close to win the game, but only 5 seconds for the young Turkish player.
Yeah, 5 seconds, but 2 extra pawns. Will he be able to make so? Rook e7 check. Will he make it?
Rook e7 looks reasonable. No, first he plays bishop g2, rook takes on g7, 2 extra pawns. Maybe Black can try to double the rooks on the second rank.
Probably it should be very valid point because you have to create some counter-attacking opportunities. And he's trading one of the rooks. Will he trade the knight?
Oh, wait, the rook g4. Nice trick here. Black was able to keep the knight on the board. White is technically winning, but the pawn on b2 could be dropping.
The pawn might be dropping, and we have the rook on a2, which is very, very passive now for Yes. But he's capturing the final pawn of Black. Now he has 3 pawns. No, now 2.
No, 2 pawns because Black recaptured the pawn back on g3, bishop c4. White is going forward, but Black is trying to contain the situation. The king is exactly where it belongs, and if Black is able to give up the knight for those 2 pawns, it's going to be a theoretical draw.
Yeah, for sure. You have to watch out for all of it, but also...
Oh, he blundered the bishop! Oh my goodness, unbelievable.
Oh,
He just blundered the
no.
check on d3. The knights in the Blitz game are always so tricky.
Oh my god, you have to always watch out for those. He's trying now to push, and yeah, he's just giving up trading the rooks.
It's going to be a draw, so we're still following more action. So this game is finished. Let's maybe jump to another game.
Let's go to Carissa against Vaishali.
Let's go.
This is a very tough match also for both of them, since both of them are in the bottom of the standings, but Carissa has extra 2 pawns right now.
So knight h4 was just played by Black. G takes to h4 leaves the bishop at f4 hanging. I think that White doesn't really have any choice. White has 2 extra pawns. Vaishali suffering here. Should be technically winning for the American player.
Yeah, and she's defending from the side. Of course, not so easy to have the rook there, but you can see the moves are incoming. Now there is a pawn marching on the f-file.
Yeah, rook b3 threatened to play rook b4. So we see already quite a few moves being played here.
Yeah, stepping away with the rook now.
White is advancing.
And rook is going all the way back. There are some checks in the position. Those pawns are marching.
Yeah, it looks like Carissa will be able to convert this position. f5, f6. What happened? What just happened there? Did she? Somebody lost on time, unfortunately. I do not see.
What's happened?
I do not have a confirmation what happened there because apparently somebody lost on time. But this game is over. He also lost the moves a bit incoming, so I cannot really confirm at this moment what exactly went down in this game.
But I see the king is standing on the dark square, so probably Vaishali won.
On time? Really?
I think that Vaishali won.
She won on time?
Carissa flagged.
Oh my goodness,
Oh
with a
my
winning position.
God.
And here we also see Alexandra Kosanyuk finishing in her game against Marco Materia.
Wow. What a round
is a draw.
that we had. Wow, I couldn't expect Carissa Yip having 2 extra pawns in the position and losing on time, not making decisions. Arthurs, what does it mean for round 2?
Yeah, I mean, again, it was another crazy event, and indeed, let's check the results now of the second round of the tournament. As you can see, indeed, Carissa Yip lost on time against Vaishali. Wow, that was really, really hard to watch, but an overview of all the results. Jose Martinez in the master section finally scores his first victory, defeating Matthias Blubam and trying to catch up with the leaders. Levon Aronian scored a clutch victory over Lim Le, and Adin Suleimanli against Yezer Domush. It was a hard-fought draw.
And the Generations Challenge, as you already said, Carissa Yip lost on time to Vaishali. But Slefinik against Shao Tong, they had a peaceful result, and Marco Matera against Alexandra as well is a draw there. And what does it mean for our overall standings right now? It means that in the Masters tournament, we have still a leader, Levon Aronian with 18 points, Aydin Suleimanli 17.5. After him is Lim Le with 15.5 points, Yezer Dogmush 14, Matthias Blubbaum 10.5, and Jose Martinez 9.5 points, but he can still climb all the way up. What about Generations Challenge?
There's still one clear leader. Václav Finnick is ahead of everyone else by 3.5 points. Marco Materia, Shao Tong have 8.5 points each. Alexandra Kostanyuk is still within the striking distance, but again, look at this, Angelique, it's 10.5 points essentially from the tournament leader. So this means it's getting really, really close for Alexandra to stay in the contention for the final stage. But dear viewers, this is only the start. This was only the second round out of 10. Hoping you are having a lot of fun following this, as are we, together with Angelika. We're going to make a very, very short break, and we'll be back for round 3 in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Biel Chess Festival, where we're following the Blitz tournament, both in Masters and Generation Challenge tournaments. Today is the day when we are going to figure out who will qualify for the final stage, and also at least 4 players will be departing from us.
First 2 rounds set very unpredictable pace, and here are the pairings for round 3. We have Jose Martinez against Yezer Dogmush. Will Jose manage to strike back now and get up in the leaderboard? Big question. Aydin Suleiman Lee with the white pieces against Livon Aronian, the leader still of the whole tournament. And Lim Le, the 3-time Grandmaster Triathlon champion, against Matthias Bluebaum. After the loss, will he strike back?
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting matchups, and I think with this round we could start with the Challengers tournament, also try to give them some love. Vaishali versus Václav Finek, the tournament leader. By the way, now we see Lim Le is getting ready for his game against Matthias Bluebaum. Here's Don Shao against Marco Materia. It's also great to see the players are in good spirits, although no, I mean here Alexander versus Carissa, super serious.
Yeah, super serious. And by the way, also Vaishali against Václav. Extremely serious, looking at the board as if they are seeing the chess 960 position, trying to calculate some lines over it.
It's a blitz. Have some fun. All right, D4, knight f6, knight f3. Here we're following this super exciting game. Václav, the tournament leader, of course, he's doing really well. For Vaishali, the current World Championship challenger, she needs to start to score points. Some sort for the late Trumpovsky.
And we have on the board and b6, so getting in some kind of the Queen's Indian vibes in this opening.
Yeah, so here White is thinking about grabbing in the center, e4 or e3. Yeah, what I really love about the Trumpovsky, it is really similar to the London system. I think that here Vaishali wants to play c3 because with the knight on d2, I don't think you really play c4 because then the knight belongs on c3. Either way, both players are trying to get an easy-to-play position, which really matters for the Blitz.
And I will already that the engine will have marks this move as a mistake, the castle, but we have rook g1 immediately faced. Or maybe this was a problem with the castle because White can go immediately for the attack with a g4, g5.
It looks really entertaining stuff. Like White is thinking about maybe queen e2 and long castle, and here perhaps Václav is getting a bit nervous having the pawn on h6 because that's something that White could try to exploit. Bishop takes on e7, followed by queen e2, long castle, g4. Let's go.
Let's go, marching all the way with the attack, and Václav Finek playing queen e7, and looks like every move that he's playing, computer doesn't really like, but will Vaishali manage to capitalize on it? And he goes for g4.
Knight b4, I like this move because I think Black needs to eliminate this last bishop here. I would expect bishop e2 to walk away. Instead, queen e2 is played by the Indian player. I don't like this move. I thought you want to keep the bishop here.
Yeah, but she probably doesn't want to spend too much time stepping away. We don't know what's happening in her head. And also, she didn't have such a good rounds, first and second, in the Blitz. And she's not such a fast player, as we have seen by the result. And she has to start getting points in the Blitz portion.
Yeah, that's the trickiest part, yeah, in chess. I mean, where do you spend the time? Because everybody can play very quickly with just 1 second, but how do you slow down, make this decision? Like, I love this previous game where Domush was playing against Suleimanli. He feels it's a critical moment, slow it down, and then you speed it up. It's not so easy. By the way, here, White is going still for the Kingston attack. G6, a defense move by the Czech player.
The idea is after G5, Black will be able to block close the position. But no, Vaishali is going for the h4. Will we see some sacrifices potentially on one of the pawns?
But it's not very clear what she wants because like h5 will be met with g5 and g5 will be met by h5. And this is also where the Czech player immediately senses an opportunity. He should organize some sort of a counterplay at the queen set, and there you go, c5 is on the board.
c5 is there indeed. You have to strike in the center when there is attack on the side is ongoing. For now, Vaishali is not castling. She's keeping the game in the center. Now she's asking knight, will you take my bishop?
Yeah, I think she already has misplayed the position because without the last bishop, there's no direct attack. The pawns on g4 and h4, they look menacing, but there's no break. And I think this is also, what, d5? All right. I would have thought you want to keep your bishop alive on b7, but again, in the Blitz game, you don't really have a lot of time to think about your choices.
Václav's trying to keep the game very solid. h5. Vaishali finally breaks the position of the Black's king, but bishop a6 coming with a tempo on the queen. Where do you step away?
Yeah, queen b3 looks awkward. It jumps under rook c8. I suppose it's queen b3. Not a lot of great choices here for the Indian player. The queen on b3 also feels awkward. Something like knight c6, knight f5 might happen.
So with d5, this was an idea for Czech international master Václav Finek. Bishop a6 attacking the queen. And he has to play queen b3, and now he is closing the side on the king side there. So no attack is happening.
Now the big question here for white, do you castle the long side? Is your king feeling safe there? Because it's not feeling very safe on e1 either. c3 played here by Vaishali. Watch out for this hole on d3. It's a huge weakness. What about bishop d3? Maybe bishop h7. I have a feeling for Vaishali the position is getting really dangerous.
It's getting worse and worse with every move. Now also big question, do you castle anywhere? Do you keep the king on e1? What do you do in this position? And if you want to attack, how do you proceed with it?
I think you have to castle the long side, but after the long side, bishop d3 is going to be a problem. The king cannot get to a1. So here, white has problems. Long castle played. I think bishop d3 is going to happen. Otherwise, white is going to play king b1, king a1, and be able to have some sort of easier to play position.
Yeah, he's reaching for the bishop. I think we're going to have this move being played. Bishop g3 stopping it, and it is on the board.
Immediately played, maybe knight e1, knight c2 already. Oh wait, knight e1, drops the exchange on e2. You couldn't do that.
Wow, you have to be very careful. Cannot drop an exchange.
Not so easy here. I mean, for white, because you want to attack, there's no attack. You want to play knight e1, it's not working. Knight e5 maybe drops the pawn on e5. What do? It's so difficult to make a move. You want maybe to play c4, exposes your king? No, knight e5.
Knight e5 offering a trade of the knights and attacking the bishop on d3. We see the knights being traded off the board. Now pawn on e5 could be potentially some important pawn, but no, the bishop on d3 is a very strong piece.
That is a very committal move here by the Czech players. c4, weakening some dark squares. If his attack is going to fail, white could try to get the knight on d4 and have an easier game. Queen b4, is this an opportunity for white? 15 seconds for white.
Position is completely closed right now here. Where do you place your queen? a4? What is it going to be? Or you're going to flag?
Queen? What does she play? Queen b4?
Offering a trade of the queen. She's going for an endgame.
Right. Black wants to play a5, a4, a3, open up the queen side for white. The position is getting dangerous. That's why she took with a c pawn to keep the a file closed.
Yeah, you have to close it. You have to keep it closed. But now, also since it's an endgame, king can also go somewhere in the center. f6, opening up the f file.
f4. No, this looks really suspicious. I think f takes on e5, f takes on e5. Black is just dominating position here. Really tough moment here for Vaishali. Definitely not rook f2 or rook f4, but rook f2 is played. I think he's going to win this.
Yeah, rook f2 is on the board, and you cannot step away with the knight because you'll have always some issues. By the way, c3 is incoming in some moment. You have to watch out for it.
Yeah,
Will we see c3?
Yeah, c3, rook c2. White could simply drop material here. It looks like Finek here is going to be able to win this game. It looks like White's position is about to fall apart. Rook takes on c3. Was just played as we saw in the live camera here. Rook c2. There goes the piece.
Yeah, and it is happening. It is happening. Unfortunately for Vaishali, she's losing a material. She's losing a piece in this game. We expect her to lose this one. I suggest to go to Aydin Suleimanli, Levon Aronian. This is a game which is happening right now.
Let's go. Let's go. And here we see Aronian is having two minor pieces for the rook. The white king is exposed, beautifully positioned the knight on d4. Could be a big moment for the overall rankings because Suleimanli is one of the leaders and Aronian is the leader. So super important matchup for the overall standings. Nice idea. Knight c2, queen d1 and collecting the material.
Oh, extra piece and the pawn here as well, winning the game. We have still some games ongoing. Jose against Yes.
So, yeah, for Aronian, that was a clutch victory here. Here we have Martinez, who is trying to stage a comeback against Erdomus. Martinez is struggling right now in the tournament because the tournament, it's not being going well so far for him. But in Blitz, everything can change.
It is indeed, because you can get so many extra points. And Jose already scored a victory. So he has big chances now. Queen g4. What is he doing? Putting pressure on the g7 square.
Yeah, maybe queen g6, queen f7. It's obstacle of bishops. It's really unpleasant for black. Even though we have those obstacle of bishops, you would think it's a draw. No, I mean, when you have a direct attack, it doesn't really matter. White has an easy game. Queen e2, queen a5 here. Black has to be super careful.
Watch out for something on the a file as well. King on c7 is much weaker than white's king in this position. Oh,
Rook B1 here, the Mexican Grandmaster is applying a lot of pressure. Like that's the type of position, Angelica, you can play forever and ever. You try to create some threats, and this is why Martinez Alcantara, also known by his online username Jospem, is one of the best players online, and he's showing it right here.
Queen E5, just putting some pressure.
Queen
on
C6. Is it a threat? No, it was not a threat.
Oh. 6, not possible.
Black-
Nothing stepping away?
Yeah, I mean, Black needs to guard his pawn on C6. There's all kinds of tricks. At some point, I have a feeling, Angelique, that White will be able to organize a counterattack at kingside, organizing a pass pawn. Also, watch out for Rook E1, Rook G1. Black also might be thinking about his own ideas.
But now Bishop F5 is the idea to play Bishop C8, targeting the pawn on B7.
Queen E1, Queen E4, Queen E5. They don't trade the queens. I think actually both players are getting really ambitious here.
Everyone is ambitious now in this game. So important to score points for every of them.
There you go. There goes the H pawn. Rook H1, H6. I think at some point White has to organize an outside pass pawn at the kingside.
Now Rook steps backwards and now on this fourth rank.
Rook E3. What about Rook takes on G3?
Oh,
This
no.
is what he missed. Suddenly Black is completely taking over the game because you see Rook takes on G3. There's going to be a mate.
Oh my god! Wherever you step, there is a checkmate.
Wow.
We see resignation. Jose Martinez is stunned by Yas Erdogmush, and for him it's another victory. Insane! Yesterday, Yas won in similar fashion against Jose in the Classical. Today in the Blitz, finding this nasty idea.
Wow, this was really crazy. It only took one blunder and that's it. That's it. So the third round is over just like that. And let's check the current results. So what do we see? We see a lot of decisive games. We see Artomush, Aronian scoring victories in the Masters section. Also, Kostenyuk scoring a victory with the white color. And the tournament leader, Václav Finik, remains perfect.
Extending the lead, and we have 2 draws. Lim Le against Matthias Blubaum, as well as Xiao Tong against Marco Materia. What does it mean for our overall standings right now? The results of the round 3.
So we have Levon Aronian, who has extended his lead over Aydin Soleimani because he defeated him in their own Blitz game by 1.5 points. Then who is in the 4th place? It is Erdomosh, who is currently only 4 points behind the leader. So this is a very open race for Martinez. This was a very big loss because he's trying to stage a comeback. He needs those victories. Otherwise, he's not going to make it.
Generations Challenge, we see Václav Finik is basically trying to eliminate all the players from the field, scoring another victory with 23 points right now. For Alexandra, Carissa, and Vaishali, now it's a tough situation. They urgently have to start scoring the points. For Alexandra, there are more chances. As we can see, she has 11.5 points.
Yeah, it's already getting really dangerous close to these 12 points margin to get to the final stage. But dear viewers, again, we're going to make a very, very short break before the next round. So don't go anywhere. Let's have some fun following this Blitz event, and we'll be seeing you shortly after the break. And we're back, dear viewers, following one of the most exciting events of the 59th International Biel Chess Festival. Today, here in Biel, it's the Blitz Day, as we are watching some of the best players here in the Biel Congress Center playing it out. One of the most exciting, shortest time controls that's there possible. 3 minutes plus 2 seconds time control. And round 4 is about to start. We're having plenty of fun, and this is the pairings for the round 4.
In Generations Challenge, we have Václav Inek, who is leading in the tournament overall as well as in the Blitz, and he'll take on Marka Materia, one of the leaders as well. But Alexandra Kostyniuk match against Vaishali will be so important for the overall standings. Will some of them try to keep standing in the league? And Carissa Yup, another chance for her to get extra point and try to get to the top of the rankings.
Yeah, so huge matchups, obviously, and as usual, we're going to try to keep the same pace, follow one game, and see where the action is going to take us. We have chosen to follow the game of Aydin Suleimanli against Lim Le in this round and see what happens. In case it's, I don't know, boring, I don't think it's actually possible in the Blitz, then we're going to switch to another game. Even though Aydin is yawning a bit there, is he tired? No?
I'm not sure that he's tired. Maybe he's trying to think about his opening choice, getting ready. And yeah, if you see Lim Le being very focused, for him it's very important to stay in for the final stage of the Grandmaster Triathlon.
Yeah, it's also a tough start for both of them because Aydin has only 50% score in the Blitz, but Lim Le is sitting 1 point out of 3. Aronian has 2.5 points out of 3 in the Blitz, and Domush has 2 points. So these players really need to step up, start to score points, because they also do not want to lose their lead in the rankings, and the game is about to start.
Yeah, they don't want to let anyone from the bottom of the rankings try and get a victory and here we have a handshake. First move, D4, let's go.
Everybody loves D4, at least in the Masters.
I love D4.
You love D4. I love
I'm
D4.
not a master.
Yeah, they also love D4. Bishop E7. Lim Le already played this earlier in this tournament, I believe, in the classical section. White has many choices here.
Yeah, did. And we have Knight F3, exchange variation on D5. We'll have our beautiful Carlsbad pawn structure in this opening. And Bishop develops to F4.
Oh, by the way, these players already met yesterday. Yeah, so Suleimanli was able to defeat Lim Le with a beautiful victory with the black color after the Vietnamese Grandmaster made a one-move blunder, after which the Azerbaijani player was able to exploit really beautifully, and he's looking for the revenge.
Yeah, and they were having the exchange colors, so Lim Le was playing white and Suleimanli will play black. Well, in Blitz, they'll have both colors because it's definitely the double round-robin tournament where each player has a chance to play against another with both colors.
Okay, so here White is playing interesting chess. He just played H3, G4, Knight E5. He definitely wants to do something fun at the king side. H4, H5, provoke Black to play H5 so that he can take on G6. And here Black has to be a bit careful.
Yes, indeed. And we see Knight takes on G6 happening. Bishop G2. White has a bishop pair, but how important is it in this position because it's not so open?
Yeah, I have a feeling for a Blitz game, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's like an instinct for every good player. You always want to get the bishop pair because it gives you the easier game in the long run. However, in Blitz games, typically different rules apply. You want to have an easier game, hopefully a direct attack against the king.
Arthur, I'm sorry, can we go to the game Kostyniuk against Vaishali? Because I think there is some big trouble for Vaishali in the game. And I think her queen looks trapped there. What happened in the opening?
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So this is the current position, and just to show you on the live screen, one move before, Bishop D2, Knight E7 was blitzed out by Vaishali, simply blundering the queen.
She plays castle here in the board and giving up the queen.
Uh-oh. Well, this is not good news for Vaishali, and she's been struggling so far in this tournament, having 1 point out of 3, and obviously it's a very important matchup for both players. Kostyniuk was doing a bit better in the first 3 rounds, having 50% score, but I don't really see this game continue for too long.
But Vaishali got those points only because Carissa flagged in completely winning endgame, so definitely it was very important for her to come back, but I don't see it's happening anytime soon.
My suggestion is we go back to the game of Aydin Sulemali against Lemle, because I have a feeling that extra queen at this level, it really matters. So let's go back to Aydin Sulemali against Lemle. But once again, we were witnesses that even the best players in the world, like also the World Championship challenger Vaishali, are prone to make mistakes.
Yeah, let's go here and see what's happening, because A5 right now trying to attack some kind of a minority attack, which is happening right now on the queen side, typical for the Carlsbad pawn structures.
Knight c4.
By the way, kings are still in the center, Arthurs. No one is castling. No one wants to castle.
No one wants to castle because castling is overrated. I mean, jokes aside here, I think White has some more concrete ideas to exploit the knight on b6. Knight c4 hits the pawn on a5. Do you play a6? Things are escalating really quickly. By the way, watch out for short castle and knight takes on g4. I think this is the reason why black is not castling short, to keep the white king in the center.
Yes, you don't want to allow any kind of knight sacrifices. And Aydin is taking quite some time in the position. 1.5 minutes, that's what he has to think how he will proceed with an attack on the king side. And what he will do about the king.
Tough decision really here for white. Maybe, yeah, you could have castled really short, maybe queen a2. I think that both players are more or less safe already in the final four. I don't think they're really worried about it, because Suleimanli is one of the leaders and Limle is not so far behind, but I think they're also mentally getting ready for this final stage. Again, tomorrow there's going to be a rest day, and after that the players will return for more classical games. But of course, first we have to figure out what happens here in the Blitz. That's a mistake?
Bishop f1, he's trying to step away, targeting the knight.
Doesn't look good to me. What about knight a5? What about knight x on g4? Black has some choices here.
Yeah, 2 pawns are hanging, and he goes for knight a5. But I think, for Limle, he's coming already for the 4th time here to the Biel Chess Festival, winning before 3. For him not to be a leader of the event is some big surprise, so he wants to establish a lead and get into those final rounds with some extra points.
Yeah, before knight c4 was just played, so here Suleimanli is sacrificing a pawn, trying to get to the white king, b4, b5. Very inspired game, by the way, so far. Looks a bit suspicious if you ask me, but again, maybe I'm influenced by the Valation bar.
Well, I don't know. It's definitely for computer, everything looks good. No, this last move was not so good. Apparently allowing black having those 2 pawns on the queen side, potentially in the endgame. This could matter a lot, because pawn on c6, I don't think it's going to hang for long.
Great move, g5. I think white is threatening knight x on d5 in some lines and collect the knight on c4. Is this a possibility here? No, bishop g2. Look at this. Suddenly white is looking better because black cannot collect the pawn on c6. The pawn on d5 is hit. If you play knight c7, how do you recollect the pawn on c6?
Big questions now for Limle, and he's getting lower and lower in the clock. Pawn is hanging, he's taking it. Knight on c4 is also hanging in the position.
Black's position is getting really shaky here. Knight x on d5. I think white wants to play queen x on c4. Not only keeping the pawn on c6, but also getting another pawn. And if this bishop starts with its scalp roll forward those pawns, it's going to be over for black very quickly.
Oh, what a tough game for Limle, Vietnamese Grandmaster. Has to decide here how he's going to respond. Will he take on d5? Will he jump with a knight from b4? But if he has to where? He's going to be b2.
There could be some tricks, like knight b2, hit a queen on a4, also going for knight e3. You want to be as tricky as possible. And at this stage, again, the calculation, the speed, how do you do it, is very, very important.
And now 20 seconds now for him. He has to make a decision. He is going for it.
Knight b2, queen b3. I didn't fully expect this. Knight x on d5. Which knight do you take? On d5 or b2? The clock is ticking. 30 seconds for white. You got to make a choice. Queen d5, giving up the exchange.
Wow. Sacrificing it, but having the strong pawns in the center. What Aydin is saying, he's going to promote one of those pawns. c6, d pawn is also dangerous. You have to watch out.
It's got to be a win for white, right? Because I don't think this extra exchange really matters. I mean, look at those monstrous pawns. The bishop is going to retreat. We're talking about d5, e4, e5, d6. How is the 3-time tournament champion Limle stopping those pawns?
The pawns are just rolling, and you cannot really stop it. King is coming for the help and for the rescue, but will he be able to do something?
10 seconds for white. I mean, he knows he's close to having a technical winning position. Bishop g2 opens way for the pawn, so king d3, d5, e4, e5 is incoming. Black also needs to have some counterplay here.
Just easy plan, just rushing with the pawns. Black's pawns are way too less advanced on a7. No way that they're going to improve from there. You would laugh really to get those pawns rolling, but no, e5.
Yeah, e5, f takes, all of this makes perfect sense. Now I think d5, d6 is literally unstoppable, and I just don't really see what here black can do. Rook h8, maybe he could try to sacrifice at some point d5. By the way, d5 right now is not possible because it drops the pawn on e5.
You can already pre-move your moves, basically just rushing with the pawn, but no, Limle is still trying to create something on the queen side.
That was a great move, rook f1, I love it. King e4, rook h4, rook f4. No, instead he plays rook f4, king e4. That is a bit complicated to me. Here black is seeking some counterplay at the queen side, and we're down to the last 5 seconds.
And pawn is rushing b3, and we see evaluation bar is also falling with that. How do you defend the pawn on c6?
And there comes Limle. He's coming here with his counterplay a5, a4, a3. It's all about who has the easier game. d5, king e5. Suddenly it gets really chaotic here. I think both of the players are playing for the win here.
Yes, there are so many moves are incoming, taking the pawns. Pawn d7 is marching. How do you stop it? No way.
You can't stop it. I think white is about to promote to his queen, and maybe
Rook
black
d4?
is still alive here.
Promoting the queen is already there.
White should be winning.
But there is a b3 pawn, which could be dangerous potentially.
And there's the resignation. So Aydin Suleimanli wins his game. And this also means that we have one more game, Jose Martinez against Levon Avronian, another important matchup of the master section.
Yeah, we have here the end game where white has an extra exchange with. But yeah, the pawns are rolling.
Yeah,
The exchange
g2,
doesn't
h2.
matter.
How do you stop them? But also, white is about to advance his b pawn. Look at the speed, how the players are quickly executing those moves. And I think that white cannot save this. They're literally playing on the last seconds. I think he'll lose some time.
Yeah, crazy game for Jose Martinez. Levon Avronian extending his lead in the tournament.
Look at that.
What a
Look at him.
game. They're completely shocked. You know?
Yeah, look at it. At least, that's what I think, what I really love. It's a highly competitive game. And the players are always sharing some smiles after the game. They're not immediately leaving. They're just fans, just like us, except that all the difference is they know the game a bit better. So let's have an overview. What exactly happened in this round 4 of the Blitz event?
In the Masters tournament, we have Levon Avronian, as we just saw, scoring important victory, extending his lead. Yezer Dogmush getting a victory against Matthias Biel. For Matthias, it's very tough right now. And Aydin Suleimanli getting a victory against Limle. Limle should be worried at this point.
Václav Videk, it seems, so finally was stopped, at least to a draw by Marco Materia. We saw also decisive games. Xiaotong scored a victory together with Alexander Kostyuk. This seems like a chance for them to catch up with the leaders. Now let's check what is happening right now in the overall ranking, because we are finally getting some clarity. Avronian is still leading the Masters with a 1.5 point difference ahead of Aydin Suleimanli, but Limle, the 3-time winner of the triathlon, he's falling behind.
Indeed, he is. The Generations Challenge, it's all about Václav Videk, and everyone is trying to stop him, but he is completely unstoppable. He probably literally trying to eliminate players like Alexandra Kostyuk, because she's right now having 12.5 points, which is 11 points behind Václav Videk. As we know, to the final stage, you can only get when you have at least 12 points distance.
Yeah, and also for Carissa Yip, Vaishali, Matthias Bluebaum, and Jose Martinez, things look really, really difficult at this stage. I think for Bluebaum and Martinez, it's close to impossible, to be honest, at this stage already to recover this huge gap they have against the leaders, because, again, top 4 qualify for the final stage. Maybe for the ladies it's a bit different, but yeah. So far, I think the first 4 rounds, they didn't really disappoint.
Didn't disappoint, but I wanted to say in Generations Challenge for Vaishali, I think something mentally went wrong, as in this round we saw her sacrificing, blundering her queen, and very much opening of the game. And for Alexandra, extra chance is still there.
Yeah, absolutely. I know how it feels when you blunder a queen in one move, but what to do? You have to look ahead. There's still many games to be fought of. But dear viewers, we are still obviously going to continue the coverage. But before the next round starts, we're going to make a very, very short break for several minutes. So don't go anywhere. I will be seeing you very shortly after this break.
champion d'échecs, il doit maîtriser toutes les cadences. J'étais choqué que le championnat du monde de partie classique se finissait en départage, en partie rapide. Là m'est venue l'idée du triathlon, on jouait les 3 cadences, bien sûr en pondérant les points. De proposer un nouveau format, un essai en 2019 qui était concluant, et maintenant c'est même dans les projets de la FIDE de faire de notre format, sous un autre nom, pas triathlon mais total chess, d'en faire le nouveau format du championnat du monde. C'est une certaine fierté pour qui on est le plus vieux festival du monde sans interruption. Beaucoup d'engagement, beaucoup de responsabilités, beaucoup de stress. Du coup, c'est là où je trouve l'énergie et la force mentale qu'il faut pour pouvoir réaliser un festival avec 16 tournois, 12 Open sur 2 semaines, de m'inspirer pour trouver la force de continuer.
Welcome back, chess fans. We are back with the Blitz action here in Biel Congress Center, where the 59th International Biel Chess Festival is taking its place. Today is the day when players are battling out everything in a Blitz event to figure out who's going to make it to the final stage. Angelika, me, we are going to follow the action live, bringing you some expert commentary, and hopefully you have some fun. And these are the standings before round 5.
As we can see in the Masters tournament, on the fourth place is Limle with 16 points, still trying to hang in on there. It's all about being in the top 4 right now and not getting too far behind. Matthias Blubau on 11 points still has some chances, but Jose Martinez, look at this, Arturs, 9.5 points. We have 6 rounds to go, so he can maximum score 6 points. With 15.5 points, he cannot reach in top 4. We can safely say Jose Martinez is out of competition.
Yeah, and for Matthias Blubau, who we see on the screen, this is maybe one of his last chances because now he's playing against Aydin Suleimanli. He desperately needs this point. I mean, look at this 5-point difference between him and Limle to get his spot in top 4. But when we speak about the Challengers tournament, Vaishali is also in a really dangerous situation. 5-point difference from her against Alexandra Kostanyuk. For Carissa Yip, maybe there's still hope.
Yeah, there is definitely some hopes, and we would love to see our players strike. And in the Masters, it's going to be about Matthias Blubau and against Aydin Suleimanli. As Arturs, you were saying, this is definitely the match of the round. Will Matthias be able to strike some victories and stay in contention?
So here we go. The opening phase is played out very quickly. And of course, immediately the German Grandmaster chooses one of the most aggressive choices he can do. This is the Nimzo Indian, Bishop D2, something really advanced. Very often White is playing this kind of setup when he needs the victory here.
Yeah, we have Bishop D3 on the board. Talking about Aydin Suleimanli, looks like he's almost safe, as we can say it, being second right now on the rankings. It's only about Matthias in this game. Having white pieces, do you think it's also boosts some confidence for him to try to score a victory?
I'm not really sure, to be honest, if the white color matters much at this stage. It's all about if you believe in your playing abilities this day, or are you having a role? And apparently Suleimanli is in a really good shape because he has scored 2.5 points out of 4. If we talk about individual results in the Masters, Levon Aronian is currently unstoppable. He has 3.5 points out of 4. Yezer Domush has 3. And Suleimanli is actually the only one from the other players who is still in the plus.
Now the rest having just 1 point. For that reason, Blubau has to try to strike here. Will he be able to? Knight e2, by the way, just now played, challenging the knight on e4, and Aydin decides to trade those.
Now White has a bit some nominal advantage here. Again, the bishop pair and the easier, longer game. But for Suleimanli, it's a pretty clear game. I think at some point he wants to play maybe like e5, knight f6, go for some Kingston attack. Do not underestimate this Lasco bishop on b7. So I think here Blubau at some point will play f3.
F3 for sure, trying to open up the position. But for Aydin, he is playing e5 now, breaking the setup. We're attacking the pawn on d4. Are you taking the pawn? Are you pushing forward? What are you doing here? Maybe closing the bishop?
No, I think you want to open it up because you have the bishop pair. So a d takes on c5 makes perfect sense. Do you take with a d pawn or b pawn? I actually kind of like b takes on c5. No, I did it differently, but d takes on c5 also leaves the pawn on e5 kind of vulnerable against White's bishop on b2.
Yeah, it is definitely very vulnerable here. Pawn takes, and we have a d-file getting opened. There could be some pressure on it, but yeah.
The pawn is, by the way, under attack on b4. This is what Black is threatening right now. So Matthias is trying to figure out how does he defend. No easy moves. Maybe bishop c3 here looks pretty passive. Can you play something like queen c2? No, b5 instead.
b5 is on the board, closing the position. Also potentially some break with a4, a5 is in the air. But so far, it's all about the bishops on d3 and b2. Will White manage to activate them?
I mean, if I was Aydin, I would probably play e4, knight e5. No, rook f6. Actually, I think that's a great move. Queen e6, was it? Yeah, it looked like rook f6. I thought that Black wants to attack at the king side, like rook f6, rook h6, the queen on h4, and go for some attack. Also, on top of his ideas, maybe there's an idea to play e4, knight e5, and just be solid.
Yes, it is possible. We have bishop stepping away, no more e4 coming with the tempo in the position. And now f3, the idea which you mentioned earlier, it is happening right now. Will he go for the e4 push, or he's just stopping some ideas of knight jumping?
E4 push is definitely there. I was also thinking, what about h6, king h7, g5, rook g8, g4, try to open up the king side. So do you play it solidly here, or are you ambitious? Both players have definitely got the position they wanted. White has the bishop here, but black is trying to be ambitious to the king side.
Black is definitely trying. Now e4 push has been played, position is closed with f4. Now bishop is being remaneuvered there. Probably we're going to see target on the c4 square.
I think it's a reasonable idea. Maybe also in some of the lines, black can think about something like rook d3, give up the pawn, and then try to activate the Latsko bishop on b7 here. h3, I like this move, Angelica, because white might be thinking about a long-term idea, king h2, rook g1, g4, get to the pawn on g7, because you see, nobody is contesting the black bishop on b2.
But I see a trade of the rooks on the d file. Will rook d1 be played trading another rook, or what will Matthias do here? He has to recall in the back of his mind this current standings, which are not so much pushing him for a solid and peaceful result. He has to try to score some points.
I don't like this move. I would have thought that he wants to go for the attack here because, again, he's in a must-win situation because of the tournament rankings. I mean, it's really hard, of course, for Matthias to really think that he will be able to close this 5-point gap between Limley, but you got to give it a try. Maybe he's hoping for this quieter endgame.
Probably he is, but then there will be not much imbalances in the position. Now queen e7 saying, if you want to trade on my terms. I will not take your rook on d1. And we see that Matthias is recapturing. We have a trade.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple position here for black. Bishop e6, 98, 96. Black can trade the queens if he wants. To be honest, at this stage, it looks like this game is getting to something peaceful, so maybe we also can use this opportunity to switch to another game.
Let's go to Carissa against Marco Materi, because for Carissa, it's one of her last chances to try to stay in the contention for the final stage. Oh, the game just finished.
That was a bad moment for us to switch because
no.
Carissa just lost the Marco Materia 1. Here you see the players are positioning the pieces, but let's go to the game. Václav against Alexander Kosteniuk, because Kosteniuk also is in a dangerous situation. Oh, it's finished already, yeah? No, it's not finished. It's playing.
She's being played.
Right.
Yes, and we see, Václav is trying to push in this position, and with every single point Václav is getting, he's eliminating the fourth place. So this is so important right now for Alexander to still try to stay in contention.
In the Blitz tournament, Finnick has been flawless so far, 3 points out of 4. Kosteniuk also has been playing exceptionally well, +1 score or 2.5 points out of 4. She's trying not to fall behind. That's why obviously this game is so critical for her, because if she loses, she already might be trading the leader more than 12 points. Rook b8, offer to trade rooks.
Frank, the rook trade, but are you ready to accept it? Yes, rook is being active now on the 7th rank. So material-wise, we don't see there is any advantage, but white has the bishop pair in this position. How important is it, Arturs, especially now opening up the position?
I mean, obviously the position opens that white will have the better chances. So the first thing that Kosteniuk is thinking, I want to close this bishop, but I cannot really do it. If I play e3, white's going to play f4. So what do? She plays knight c3, going for some counterattack.
Yeah, what she would like to do, I think, ideally also trade the c-pawn to the a-pawn, but it's not so easy. Easier said than done, for sure. And now he is targeting the c7 square. You have to step away with the king from the 7th rank, so there is no more check.
King e6. Okay, what about the pawn on c7? Can you play it? Like knight c5 could be some counterattack, or this knight goes to c5. Watch out for the knights. Again, here the ancient gives white some nominal advantage, but knight c5 blunders something?
Rook c5, you can take it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no, she resigns.
One more blunder.
Crazy. Let's go to Limley against Jose Martinez, because for Limley it's also a very critical situation. Will he be able to extend his 4th place in the standings?
I think he is going to do exactly that, Angelica, because he has an extra pawn. He has clearly dominated position. Here you see the Mexican Grumster just resigned. So I suggest we immediately switch to a fight between leaders. Levona Vronin against Jezer Domush, and see what's going to be decided in this game.
Yes, has right now 16 points in the overall standing. So for him, he's currently also sharing the 4th place with Limle. So he has to try to score some points as well.
Right. So the position apparently is balanced, but to be honest, looks like pretty sharp, and both of the players are trying to deliver a checkmate. Maybe while this game is being ongoing, we could also see if we have an update in the game. Matthias Blubam against Aydin Soleimanli, because here, even though this was a pretty deadlocked position before, something happened here. Wait a second, how did Blubam get an extra pawn?
Oh, wow. He has an extra pawn. Now it's a pawn line game. You have to watch out here. If you take the pawn, you might already be losing, but oh no. It looks like there will be no way for the king to
I think it's just a fortress here. So you couldn't really make any progress. Blubam apparently has an extra pawn. He just played a5, a6. How many moves they're going to make it here? Not many. Draw grid.
And we have a final game, which is still happening. Livon against Yezerdog, which, by the way, huge change in the evaluation there, because it's Yes who is currently... What? He's having such a big advantage, but what's the idea?
It's just an extra pawn, I think.
Extra pawn.
Extra pawn. So here the Turkish player should be winning this, which is also a great opportunity for him to close the gap against the tournament leader, because Rodian is ahead of everyone else, and Yes is in the top 4. I think at this stage, Angelika, it's already getting pretty clear who is going to form the top 4 in the Masters, but let's follow this game and see if he can win this.
Yeah, because if Yes wins right now this game, he's going to almost surely eliminating Matthias Blubam from entering to the top 4.
And there's the resignation by Aronian here. So bishop f7, bishop g6 was the incoming threat, and Levon Aronian is finally stopped. And I think this also means that Erdomush has officially scored quite a bit more points than the tournament overall ranking leader Aronian.
And here we have the results of the round 5, which was super important for the overall standings, because with the victory of Yes Erdoğmuş over Levon Aronian and draw of Matthias Blubam, it changed so much. Matthias is no longer in contention. Limle scoring a victory, highlighting him and getting in the top 4. But in Generations Challenge, there is still an open fight for the 4th and 3rd places.
Yeah, so all games were decisive. So we have 5 more rounds to go. So Matthias Blubam, Jose Martinez are officially out to qualify for the top final 4 stages. Here you see these are the final rankings in the Masters. Now it's going to be all about getting a better position for getting to the final stage. Aronian is still ahead with 20 points. Soleimanli is 1 point behind, but it's such a close race here, Angelika.
But look at Generations Challenge, because we have Alexandra Kosnik with 12.5 points and Václav Finek has 24.5. It's 12-point difference. If there be a half a point more, she is not going to qualify. So Alexandra has to try to extend her lead in the, lead over Carissa and Vaishali and getting the 4th spot in the finals.
I mean, she's definitely in the danger zone here, Angelika. No, for Carissa, Yip, and Vaishali, I think for Vaishali, this already becomes technically impossible to get to the top 4, because she would have to score like 5 victories just to tie with Alexandra Kosteniuk.
And Václav will have to lose all the games.
Yeah, probably. So I don't think it's even possible. So I think that Vaishali probably is also mathematically out of the contention. And for Carissa, she really needs to score a lot of victories in a row, and Kosteniuk is essentially also in the danger zone.
Super exciting round number 5 in Arthurs. We have 5 more rounds to go, so we just had first part of the round robin tournament.
Yeah, so we're seeing everything. We're seeing a lot of time scrambles. We're seeing 1 more blunders, like we saw also the previous round, by the way, Vaishali blundering the queen. So these things happen. We saw a lot of up and down games, but right now the story is this: who is going to make it to the top 4? And even though in the Masters everything is clear, they're just battling it out who's going to have the better position for the final 4. The Challengers tournament is much more unpredictable. And while we're waiting for the round 6, dear viewers, we are going to make a very, very short break here to figure out who is going to make it to the top 4. I hope you're having a lot of fun, as we are, and we'll be seeing you very shortly after this very, very, very short break.
Every summer, in the heart of Switzerland, the world gathers around one game. For 2 unforgettable weeks, Biel becomes the meeting point of the international chess world. Countries, cultures, generations, countless stories brought together under one roof. Here a child may sit across from someone who has spent a lifetime at the board. Passionate amateurs compete just a few meters from tomorrow's stars. And on the main stage, some of the world's strongest grandmasters battle for every square, every second, and every opportunity. Different languages, different backgrounds, different ambitions. Yet across 64 squares, everyone understands the same truth. Every move is a decision, and every decision can change the game. Chess demands strategy, patience, and the courage under pressure. But beyond calculation, there's something more. Creativity, the ability to see what others cannot yet see, to imagine possibilities where none seem to exist, and to transform a single idea into a moment no one will forget. That is the spirit of Biel. Here we celebrate more than world-class competition. We celebrate the handshake before the battle, the silence before a decisive move, the conversation after the game, friendships formed across cultures, and inspiration passed from one generation to other. Different nations, different generations, different dreams, one shared passion. This is where creativity meets competition, where strangers become opponents and opponents become friends. This is where chess connects the world. This is Biel. This is the Biel Chess Festival. One game, endless possibilities.
Welcome back, chess fans, from the live coverage from the 59th International Biel Chess Festival. We are officially halfway of the Blitz event. You just saw the donation page of the Biel Chess Festival. And also I would like to use this opportunity to remind every single one of you who has made their contribution to Save the Chess Festival. So huge shout out to you for being officially amazing. And in case you are and being able to support the festival, we'll be very grateful.
For already 59 years, the Biel Chess Festival is happening without any stop, not even a corona pandemic stop they went from happening. But next year, it will be 60th anniversary, so would really try to make it as special as possible. Inviting some surprise and dream guests would be our goal to this event. And of course, we would like to also come back as a commentators of the tournament already for how many? 6 editions?
Yeah, 6 years. I think it's overall been 6 years, and next year would be the 7th year when the Biel Chess Festival
lucky
will
one.
be. Yeah, I hope so. It will be celebrating the 60th anniversary. But let's go back to the Blitz event because there's 5 more games to be fought, and here we see this is the current situation in the overall standings. It's all about who is going to make it to the final 4. As you can see, Matthias Blubaum and Jose Martinez unfortunately will be saying goodbye to us in the Masters section because they are a bit too far behind from Lim Le, who is in the 4th place and currently untouchable.
There is still opportunity in case Levon will be unstoppable, scoring 5 out of 5. He could try still to eliminate Limle, or no, there is actually not such an option. So we have already fixed our 4 players in the Masters. But in Generations Challenge, it's all about the bottom of the standings. Alexandra, Carissa are there still trying to fight. For Carissa, it has been a very tough event. She hasn't scored a single Blitz point. Even that winning position against Vaishali, she lost on the clock. So for her, it's very important now to score first victory to try to surpass Alexandra. Meanwhile, Václav Finek is trying to eliminate Alexandra Kosniuk there because right now the distance between them is at 12 points. But for Vaishali, unfortunately, the event is going to finish today. She will not be able to go to the finals.
So Kosteniuk at this moment is still in top 4, but she's really in the danger zone here. As for Carissa Yip, the American player has yet to score points in this Blitz event. So hard it is. So I think we are going to follow her game in this round against the tournament leader Václav Finek and see and get answers to some questions. Who is going to make it to top 4? Does Carissa still have some chances, or Václav Finek is going to run away?
Yeah, and they have here the pairings of the round 6, which is upcoming. Are just you're mentioning definitely one of the important matches for the round is Carissa against Václav. Will Václav extend the lead? Will Václav eliminate, or will Carissa score her first point? That's ultimately a question here. In the Masters tournament, it's all about the pride, honor, and also the points for their final stage of the tournament. The most important also for them to finish well, to try to get more points.
And it's pretty impressive that they're so close to each other in terms of the standings, like only 3 points within each other. Very, very close race there between the top 4 players who are going to battle for some extra points, or maybe just have some fun in the Blitz event, because I think it's very difficult to play Blitz if you're not having fun. The games are about to start. Here we see Alexander Kosteniuk against Shatong. Very, very important matchup, obviously, for the top 4 rankings. Kosteniuk knows this. Shatong has a bit easier situation because he is pretty safe. And here we see Marco Matera against Vaishali, who unfortunately will be leaving us after today's event.
Yeah, very sad tournament, and yeah, Blitz has not been going so well for her. She has just 1 point, and only that point she scored because Carissa lost on time the game. Talking about who is doing well in the Generations Challenge is definitely Václav Finek, who is seeing there seated. He has 4 out of 5 points together with Xiao Dong. For Materia, Marco Materia 3.5 points. Jose Martinez, as we already mentioned, he is out of contention and he has scored only 1 point out of 5.
Here we see Levon Aronian against Matthias Blubaum. Also, Blubaum is officially out, never really got in the rhythm. Aronian is doing really well in the Blitz event, once again confirming that he's one of the best players here in the field. Erdomosh against Limle, obviously, is going to be a big matchup, but we will be focusing on the top 4 qualifiers. So we'll be following the game of Carissa Yip against Václav Finek, and then pretty much see where the action is going to take us.
And we don't see Carissa yet on the board. The round is about to start. It should start at 10 2-4. He's at the board right now, getting ready. And as you were mentioning before, 5-0 so far for Carissa. Now, she has to try to recover. There was some short break before this round. Hopefully, she did something special. She had some refreshment, she ate some snacks maybe, and getting ready for the match, because I really hope for her to start and scoring first victories.
Yeah, it's really difficult, obviously, when you start to lose games, then you lose your confidence. And I still remember this game we were covering live. She had completely winning position against Vaishali, 2 extra points in the rookie game. She lost that game on time, which was just unbelievable. Very bad luck. But here we see some of the sidelines of the Sicilian Lapin. It could explode very quickly.
It definitely could. And knight c6, we see the next move. Now bishop c4, attacking the queen. Where are you going backwards?
Yeah, the queen is hit. I suppose you have to retreat. Is it c6, d6? Queen d6 seems to be a safe move for black. He's trying to eliminate white center. Are we going to get an isolated queen's pawn structure with c takes on d4? Knight b3? I don't think it answers the question yet. I think c takes on d4 will happen here, but then what? How do you recapture the pawn?
Yeah, you can take with the knight, and she's doing so. Knight b takes on d4. We're going to have a very interesting position where white has 3 against 2 pawns on the queen side. Black has 4 against 3 on the king side. But will white be able to try to get some advantage in this position? And which is advantage actually for white?
The position probably, again, remains pretty level. White is a bit better developed because you only need to bring out the queen sub bishop to the game, while black has 2 pieces to get out. b5 just played by Fidek. If we talk about the scoring difference between 2 players, as you can see, Carissa currently sits at 10 points, and Václav Finnek is ahead by 14.5 points. So that's why even if Carissa wins, she's obviously still not safe, but it will be a good step.
It will be a first step, definitely, to try to get. So theoretically, everything is still possible. Carissa has a chance still to be the force in the field there, getting to the final stage in the Generation Challenge. Also, for Alexandra, it is the chance. But Václav Finnek, you know, everything what he has been doing so far in the Blitz, he's just eliminating the players, literally eliminating, because you can only qualify to the top 4 if the distance between you and the first place is not more than 12 points.
Yeah, so he's doing a really good job so far. By the way, white is doing better here. After Carissa's a4, there's some unfortunate questions for black to answer because the pawn on b5 is immediately hit. Maybe this aggressive choice to play b5. Now he's going to slightly backfire against the Czech player. Also, I was thinking there could be a room at some point to play knight g5 and try to go for some tactical tricks, but b takes on a4. White is doing better.
There are 2 pawns against 1 on the queen side. This pawn on a6 could potentially be a weakness. And the c pawn, by the way, Arturs, look at the c pawn. Could it be a passer later on the endgame?
Eventually, absolutely. Yeah, I think white simply has the better pawn structure. The rook on a1 is very active. Black has some problems. Knight c6, you have to calculate what happens if white trades a couple of times. Some simply collects a pawn on e7. And that's why black plays knight e4 and tries to be aggressive.
Yeah, trying to get the pieces active into the position. And we have now big question to answer from Carissa. How do you develop the bishop from the c1 square?
Bishop c2, so you want to get rid of this knight, attacking it immediately. Is Carissa here thinking about some potential ideas to play h4, h5 if the knight from e4 retreats to d6? How about now? How about now you play h4? How about now you play knight g5? You want to have some attacking chances.
I absolutely love it, Arturs. I really hope she goes for it. But no, first she develops the bishop. Looks logical, also pinning the knight on d6 to the queen to c7.
Yeah, it's a good move. White has officially completed development. The knight on d6 is pinned. So how does black continue? Knight c6, black officially has completed development. And now white has to try to figure something out. How do you continue? It feels like here h4, h5 could be a bit slow because black is immediately targeting the knight on d4. And do not miss e5 move.
e5 now is a big threat in the position, although white might have probably some intermezzo, taking the knight on c6. Not really sure how it's going to go, but Carissa has to watch out here. And by the way, she has up on the clock, so she still has all her chances. But one more time, looking at the previous round where she didn't score a single point, this might look like another disappointment for her, but we really hope she is going to strike back.
Yeah, because of course we want to see as tense finish as possible, so that until the final round, it's not very clear who is going to make it to the final four stage. So here, White is again doing better, and I have a feeling that she needs have this h4, h5 opportunity, try to stir up things at the king side, because once you get to the time scramble, you want to have some attacking chances.
But she has to make decisions faster because it's a blitz. You would like to keep some time on the critical moments, but now you just have to go for it. h4, h5, trying to open up the king side. Knight one more time is not on f6, not defending from the h5 idea. So this would be a really nice way to start attack.
Maybe there's some problems with e5, and that's what she's trying to figure out. You know, what if happens if I play h4, black plays e5, do I play it safe, do I trade the bishops on e5? She's thinking. That's quite a long thing, already down to the 45 seconds.
But she can also play queen g4, bringing the queen to the king side. Ah, no, there's still going to be the e5 move, so he cannot do so. And she's trading the bishops.
Yeah, it's a bit cautious move there. I think that being a bit more aggressive was a better choice here. All right, bishop d3. Played, making sure there's no knight c4 moves, and now the young Czech player, it seems that he has a pretty good position.
Yeah, he's ready to strike back as well. We have seen him playing very fast moves, but now he's also trying to find some ideas, because h4, h5 are still somewhere in the picture. You shouldn't underestimate this idea, because now you don't have dark squared bishop, which would defend the king.
That's a very good point. I think the black king's a bit weakened here. So do you want to trade the queens? I think, of course, 98. I love this move, Angelika, because if White rejects the queen trade, the black knight is getting to f6, and the black king feels a bit safer.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Do you trade? I mean, you would like to keep an attack, but how do you keep attack without the queens on the board? She is trading the queens. What will she do?
I don't like this. I would have wanted to keep the queens on the board to have some chances for this king's attack, but here Carissa has some simpler ideas. Say she wants to double the rooks at the a file and try to win the pawn on a6.
She is trying to go for it, but it's pretty tough for what is happening here. Bishop 8 stepping backwards. Can you take the pawn on a6? No, not yet.
Not yet, because the pawn on b2 was under attack, and here you see black is getting a pretty nice position, having some counterplay at the b file. I look at the clock difference, essentially 50 seconds versus 11.
Yeah, we see that Václav is very confident in this game. The most important for him always to keep track on the clock. f3 has been played, stopping any kind of forks.
Is knight c3 working here? Knight x on c3, rook c3. I'm seeing some background issues. This is the first thing I'm noticing here.
Oh, wow. There could be some ideas.
I don't know, like you have to calculate things very quickly. No, he plays rook d8 instead, trying to be safe. No funny stuff.
Probably after knight c3 there was rook c2, but anyway, we have bishop e4 on the board, e6. Now these rooks are standing very beautifully doubled, but they are looking nowhere because pawn on e6 is defended, but maybe she wants to sacrifice something. No.
Yeah, so this bishop g2 probably was meant to protect the king. Here comes Václav Fenek. He's about to play a3, rook c3, rook a3. It feels like White's queen side is simply falling apart.
Yeah, the problem will be if you're not going to have that extra pawn, there'll be no opportunities to try to win, but Carissa is still trying to be in the game. Václav getting down to 15 seconds right now, trading the bishops.
There comes the bishop trade, rook b8, nice positional move. White goes to the defensive, rook e2. I think that black's position seems to be a bit easier. He wants to play a3, rook c3, rook a3. White has no attacking ideas, and if somebody's calling the shots here, it's the Czech player.
Yeah, for sure, he is in control in this position. If he will eliminate the pawn on the a file, he will have 4 against 3 on the queen side, and we might have a very long game there. He will try to create a passer, but theoretically, I think position is drawn, is it?
I think the pawn on a5 is gone, so here White desperately needs to activate her pieces, so she trades a pair of rooks. The pawn on a5 is goodbye. What about rook c7 and knight g5? No, instead she goes the passive king f1, king e2. Now it's all about black's chances here. Can here black capitalize on the extra pawn?
King is stepping away to f3, trying to take control of the pawns, but now rook d5, wanting to trade a pair of rooks in the position, so king has to go back and defend. Yeah, very uncertain position for White.
Yeah, it's really difficult for Carissa. Unfortunately, she's not in a situation where it looks like she could score her first victory here. She keeps struggling here. Again, the competition here is very, very difficult. So the boys are doing really good stuff so far. So we have some update from Alexander Kosteniuk's game against Tonshaw. She finished in a draw.
So it means she's still keeping her chances for contention on the 4th place. She's still there. What it means for Václav Finek, if he plays a draw, he'll be still having 12 points ahead of her. So still reachable distance and something which Alexandra can promote to the
I think actually it's
finals.
12 and a half, to be honest, because I think that right now it's 12 points. If he wins, it's 12 and a half.
If he wins, it's 12 and a half. But if
Right.
he draws,
Right.
he draws, it's going to be the same.
That's correct. But yeah, but this position is really difficult to hold in a time scramble. So of course, here Carissa wants to trade every single pawn as she can. Here comes the Black King, Knight of 7. These Knight 10 games, they're so tricky.
Watch out for all the forks. You have to really watch out. And this knight of Carissa is doing pretty well job trying to control everything. But will Václav push the e4 pawn forward?
There goes the e5. If Black will be able to trade the knights, he is winning this, and that's why here the American is trying to set up some kind of a fortress. Knight c5, knight e4. That's the kind of position you can play for a very long time.
Yeah, a very long time trying to take control over this e4 square, which is super important. You don't want to break the pawn. And what's the winning plan for Václav? How can he do it?
Yeah, maybe try to get the king on d3, knight e4, or just make a lot of moves, and maybe at some point White's going to blunder the knight trade. Here comes the king. Wait a second, there was something happening there. Apparently it was missed, but again, players are playing on the last seconds.
Ah, probably there was some pawn break in the position, and yeah, we see that Carissa is not allowing any pawn breaks now.
King d2. All right.
Ah.
So, yeah, by the way, we also have to remind you, the viewers, that Carissa has flagged in this tournament before, so she is not safe. But is she winning now this pawn on e5? Can you take? Wait, no, you can't, because there's going to be
you're
knight e3
getting
check.
to the lost pawns endgame. You cannot do so. So now
So
she's
tricky.
stepping away. She's not allowing any kind of e4 business, so you have to watch out for the knight checks.
King d5, so White is desperately trying to survive here. Both players are down to the last 5 seconds here. You cannot afford to flag this.
Oh, I'm interested how many moves are already there playing this. Of course, the players don't know when the 50 moves rule are exactly applying because they don't really have the score sheets in the Blitz.
Yeah, but I essentially don't see really any progress. I think at this stage here, Carissa can call the arbiter and say, listen, I want to somebody count the amount of moves. Because according to the FIDE rules, 50 moves with no trades, with no pawn moves, it's a draw, but you have to claim it.
And in case the arbiter has to claim it, it should be 75 moves. So if we're going to have 75 moves, the arbiter will come, stop the game and says, you know, it's a draw.
Of course, I mean, every single player in this position would try to have some practical chances, and this is exactly what Václav Finek is doing. If Carissa was playing with Black, she also would have continued to play this game. Knight c5, king d4. There's no progress so far for the tournament leader.
I have a confirmation. So we had 67th move is the last move when the pawn got to the e5. So it means we're having right now 30, how many moves? 35 moves around.
Move 103.
Ooh.
Essentially, one of the longest games. What about king e3?
Oh, what's happening?
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Black is making progress. King e3, king g2. There goes the pawn.
Oh no, she loses the pawn right now. And the pawns are marching forward. You cannot snatch both of the pawns with a knight. So you have big issues in the position. You cannot stop both of them.
Wow, what a heartbreak. I mean,
Oh.
I really feel for Carissa. You know, it's such a nightmare tournament for the American. Essentially, the 6th loss in a row. Václav Finek scores a very important victory, but it's so hard to be at this stage for Carissa.
It is extremely hard. And as we know, now Václav Finek scoring this important victory means that he's also extending the lead from Alexandra. But of course, for Alexandra, it was important to score at least something. She had a draw in the Generations Challenge. Marco Matera winning against Vaishali. Well, Vaishali is not doing so well. And about the Masters, Artur, what can you say?
So here we see Aronian scoring another victory. Suleimanli, so they're extending their lead against the closest followers. Yezat Domosh was a draw versus Lim Le. So it's all about who is going to make it to top 4. And here we see the current standings. Again, in the Masters, no big change really there. It's all about these 4 gentlemen, Aronian, Suleimanli, Domosh, and Lim Le. We are going to see them in the final stage. And unfortunately, after today, we're going to say goodbye to Matthias Bluebaum and Jose Martinez. But in the challenge tournament, Alexandra Kosanyuk is officially in the danger zone because she is behind the tournament leader Václav Fede by 12.5 points. So if the tournament finishes right now, she does not qualify for the final stage.
And for Carissa Yup, she'll have to try to score every single victory in the last remaining 4 rounds, but so far she hasn't scored a single one. She has 0 points so far out of 6 games. I don't see her getting there, but still, there is a theoretical chance for her to stay for the final stage.
Yeah, probably more like a mathematical, yeah, because we have, 4 rounds to go, 3-point deficit. It's going to be really difficult. But again, I think that being in this situation when you start with 6 losses in a row, you're not really thinking about, I have these amount of chances to score more points. You're more like thinking, I just want this tournament to be over with.
I just want to rest. I just want to prepare for the next one.
Yeah,
And that's something what's happening in the head of our players right now.
Yeah, it's really hard, but I think it's going to be essentially all about Alexandra Kostyuk here in the final round. So we are going to figure it out, dear viewers. We are going to go for a very, very short break and come back with the next round in a couple of minutes. So don't go anywhere, and see you in a bit.
Hi, I'm Tatiana. I am the one who does everything that has nothing to do with chess. So the atmosphere is very familiar. People know each other. You're very close to the chess superstars. At least that was what I was told. I mean, for me, they are all the same because I don't know them as chess players. I know them as a person. But I had people from all over the world that were really like, wow, this GM just walked by me and I could ask him for a picture. That would never happen, like in another country. So you're very close to people. People are very open, very familiar. And there's many players that come back every year, and I'm always so happy to see them. I'm very excited. They come from all over the world. But some of them are playing on stage now because they came, I saw them when they're like Marco Martera, he was here every year playing. And Liam, he's back every year. But yeah, there is many. And then there is always new faces and you make connections, you talk with people from countries I've never been to, I've never met anyone from. So it's really, really nice to connect with the world. But especially at the chess festival, we gather and become a family for 2 weeks, and then we spread out into the world and we come back next year. So that is what makes it special to me.
And we're back live from Biel in Switzerland, where the Blitz event is happening here in Biel Congress Center, which is part of the triathlon event of the Masters and Generation Challengers tournament to figure out who is going to qualify for the final stage. We are still following some of the exciting action here in Biel. So this is the pairing for round 7.
And we see some really exciting pairings in the Generations Challenge. It's all about the top 4 of each tournament. Who will qualify for the final stage? Alexandra is on the 4th place right now, facing Marco Materia, but she's in a big danger, though, because will Václav Phoenix score another victory and extend the lead? We'll have to find out in this round. In the Masters tournament so far, everything is fixed. Top 4 already cleared.
And the players are officially starting their games, so there you go. I think we're going to follow the game of Alexandra Kostic against Marco Materia, because I think for Carissa Yip, after 6 consecutive losses in a row in the tournament, it's going to be almost impossible to make it to the final stage, and it's only about the chances for Alexandra. I think she needs this victory desperately.
She desperately needs this victory, 100% Artus, and she's having also white pieces. What do we have here? Castle. Oh, some.
It's getting really spicy. Some Sicilian Alapin. Black, I think, kind of messed up things in the opening phase. So white gets very powerful Dax with bishop. We talk about bishop b2, c4, potentially d5, and have very good attacking chances.
And c4 attacking the queen on d5. Where is it going to retreat? Okay, we have it on d6. Now white is having powerful center, but black will also have this ab7, a7 pawn, potential strong bishop, and white has a bishop pair in the position.
Yeah, b6 looks like pretty good move. I think black here has to be careful for the next couple of moves, because if there's no breaks, then maybe black is able to organize some counterplay against white center. We talk about moves like bishop b7, rook d8, rook c8, and see what happens. Their current scores in the Blitz event, I think Marco is one of the best players in the Blitz section so far, having 4.5 points out of 6, allowing him to cement his situation in the rankings. For Alexandra, it's a pretty okay event so far, 3 points out of 6, 50% score, but obviously this is the moment when she needs this 4 point.
She needs to strike exactly this moment, because she knows Václav Phoenix is leading the tournament, and with every half a point, with every victory that Václav Phoenix is getting, she's having less and less chance to stay in those final stage for the last 3 classical rounds.
Yeah, this c5 was a pretty big decision by Alexandra. She's giving up the pawn to open up the Dax with bishop. bd1 c5 was a small inaccuracy here by the Frenchman.
Yeah, and we see that well, he's going to take now on c5, or will he defend?
That was actually quite a weird choice, to be honest. I would have thought that for a blitz game, it's quite risky to open up the bishop on b2. I thought that you want to retreat with a queen. Now he's having a second thoughts. Does he want to get the queens off the board? Yeah, that's what he does.
Trading the queens, as we can see. And knight is coming to d5 now in the position. Let's probably zoom in on the board, what's happening there.
There's a bit of a transmission error. I mean, white is not losing here. I think there's a rook missing on d1. I think we're going to fix that in a moment. Let's maybe forget the digital board and follow the live board, and maybe zoom in a bit, and let's see what kind of info we can extract from it.
Yeah, we see that knight is now on d5, and for white, knight is on e5, standing there. And do we see? So he's trading the knights on e5, bishop takes e5.
Yeah, a couple of pieces disappear from the board. Obviously, as you can see, white has this rook on d1, which is missing in the digital board. I mean, this is blitz. Sometimes players make those moves very quickly, and it's very difficult for the board to keep up with the pace.
And now there is a big question how to continue here for Alexandra in this game. She has 2 minutes.
I think she's doing better. She has the bishop pair, as you can see in this position.
Okay.
So, pass pawn.
So she's bringing rook to the b file. She would like to get it there as active as possible, because bishop is already on e5. She's fully controlling the b file right now.
Yeah, so rook b1 was played. Okay, this game is going to be really difficult to follow. So I think while we're going to fix this board, we're going to check another game. And since Carissa Yip still has some chances to make it top 4, let's go to that game, because she's playing all ladies match against Vaishali, who according to an engine right now is having a terrific attack.
Yeah, she's completely attacking and what is happening? How did actually it happen? This is crazy position. Reminds some kind of French pawn structure, but queen and the rook are now on the h file. H pawn is super dangerous, few squares away from the promotion.
But white is down a piece. Last time I checked, so you see white is has sacrificed a piece for some big kings at attack. Looks really sharp. So there's some ideas like rook f3, go for the checkmate. Black will play knight x on e5, and this is why here the Indian player is trying to calculate, but only 1 minute for such a wild position.
Oh, that's too little time on the clock, and you have to calculate all kinds of ideas in this position. And don't forget, if Carissa managed to defend this one, she will also have an extra piece for the later game, which will help her score a victory.
How do you actually continue here? It's really difficult. I mean, maybe rely on the power of the h-pawn. I don't know. It's really hard. f4, a human move to defend the pawn on e5. The engine does like it, but looks reasonable to me.
Yeah, it looks like she wants to try to break in the center there. Queen goes to a5, now giving a check. Where do you go now with the king? You have to know
King
where you
f1?
step away.
King d1? Nah, king d1 doesn't look likely. King f1 is the logical move. I think black wanted to castle the long side, but it drops the pawn on f7.
Watch out for that pawn. Are you ready to give it up? But also black is having this extra piece. It helps a lot.
All right, and it seems that Kostyuk's game is good. Again, let's go back to that game and see, because this game is a bit more critical for the overall ranking. So Kostyuk versus Marco Materia. We're back in business. The white rook found its way back to be on the board. Knight e4. Kostyuk is pressing.
Now black is targeting the rook as well as defending on e6 in this position. Where do you step away with the rook? And by the way, can you take the pawn on e6?
No, you can't, because the knight to d4 defends it, so black is happy with a draw. g4, of course, Kostyuk is not. Now black traced this annoying bishop on d6. With what do you take, with the rook or the pawn?
That's a huge question now in the position. I would suggest take with a pawn, still keeping all positions more spaced. I mean, because you have more space advantage, and black is liking it, and she's going for it. She's taking with a pawn.
Watch out for the f4, f5.
King is being pinned with
It's
the bishop.
a very big pin here, and black also wants to make sure, does bishop d5 work? Bishop d5, rook d6, like you have to calculate these tricks very quickly.
Watch out for the h4 break and then a 4-5, trying to break in the king side here for Alexandra.
26 seconds for white. Again, she's in a must-win situation here. Black found a pretty good setup, Angelika. I like this move, rook b7 to play bishop d7, and then it's a bit easier to play for black.
It is indeed easier, but still the pawn is a pawn on d6 and not going to be taken. Meanwhile, h4 break is indeed happening right now. What Alexandra wants, she wants to open up the h file and target the pawn on
That was
h7.
a bit, yeah, it was actually quite surprising that he allowed white to ruin his pawn structure. I think there could be rook h2, bishop c2, and black could be in trouble.
There could be many of these ideas. You have to watch out. And we have rook coming back, targeting the e6 pawn. We have some change of the remaneuvering of the pieces.
The moves are incoming very quickly. Apparently, Kostyuk had some better chances before. Now this opportunity is gone. Obviously, she's still pressing. Rook c7. The pawn on e7 is under attack. But the pawn on d6 seemingly is going nowhere.
And 23 seconds right now for Marco, or it's 13 seconds for Alexandra. Has to make faster moves.
Rook h2, the only move. Rook h2, the only move.
Now she's taking the pawn, giving up the pawn on d6. Now rook h2, targeting the pawn on h6. But can black defend it?
Yes, king g6, bishop c2, bishop d3. Black is just in time to defend. 7 seconds for Kostyuk.
She has not to lose on time here. She has to continue. Oh.
It's very difficult for black to play this
Very
position.
tough.
White is still in charge here, of course. White is not going to repeat the position. Is she? No, I don't think so. You got to push the a-pawn.
She has to go for it. She has to go for it. Meanwhile, in the other games, we have Václav Vinek, who is doing not so good against Tong Xiao, which is also the good news for Alexandra. She can still be in content for the 4th place.
Yeah, but now it's going to be really difficult for her to win because this momentum seems to be gone. I think White was better off having the rooks traded. Okay, this is still a blitz game. White has the easier game. She has an outside pass pawn, but so far the Frenchman is defending really well.
The a-pawn, I mean, still you can try to attack. You can still try to create this very nice passer. But the pawn on f3 is a big question. How do you defend it? Is there a way that black can remaneuver the bishop and target it?
Yeah, he's trying. He's trying. There goes the a-pawn. a4, a5, a6. You can't let it go away. So that's why Frenchman immediately goes back to defense. The pawn on f3, I have a feeling that White will have to sacrifice it at some point to make some progress.
Yeah, but also a pawn is marching forward. 5 seconds for Alexandra. She has to apply moves very fast.
How do you do it? I mean, how do you make progress? I have a feeling you want to get the bishop on e4 somehow from b3. It's pretty passive. The a pawn doesn't go anywhere. Bishop takes an a4. She gave up the pawn.
But she's taking the pawn on e6. Is she? No. No,
Oh,
she's going.
no, she's not going to win this.
Oh, no.
Okay, so even a draw, actually in this situation, would keep her chances alive because the last news we got about the tournament leader, Václav Finek, he was worse. Is he still worse? No, his position is drawing at this stage.
Yeah, it's equal position, but still some chances for Tong Xiao. But let's focus on Alexandra. Or here she has some difficult task because she has to draw this game. She has to equalize here because, of course, it's theoretical draw in the game, but in Blitz, anything can happen.
It somehow feels like a déjà vu from the previous round against Carissa Yip versus her opponent because it was a knight endgame. Here's a rook endgame against 2 pawns against 1, theoretically a draw. But in Blitz, in the time scramble, with only plus 2 seconds per move, anything can happen. But yeah, this rook b6 was a great move by Kostyuk.
Cutting the king. Now king cannot enter to the game, and it looks like we're going to soon going to have a result. Rook stepping away. Very technical defense.
Yeah, and obviously, super critical game for the final rankings. I do see that in the other game, Václav Finek is a bit struggling trying to make a draw, which Kostyuk has no time to think about. She's right now trying to survive in this game to keep her chances alive to be in top 4.
She has to be focused on her own game. Rook b8 just played, stepping away from the rook trade.
Now, both players have accumulated a bit more time. Here you see finally Black pauses. He needs to figure out some kind of a plan. It's going to be really difficult.
Really tough, for sure, for Alexandra. But for Marco, it's even tougher. How do you create those winning chances?
I think this is a pretty much textbook draw because, yeah, so you need to come up with something. Big update, by the way, in the game of Tong Xiao versus Václav Finek. The tournament leader, Finek, is losing, so maybe for Kostyuk, a draw in this game is not really such a bad result again, because then she would be, again, within the 12-point margin from the tournament leader, Finek.
Super important, at least, to score those half points. But Marco Matera has extra pawn, and if something can go wrong, it will only go wrong for Alexandra. But no, we see all the pawns out of the board and the draw. Agreed. One game which is still ongoing is Tong Xiao against Václav Finek, and we have another update there. It's all equal there.
It's just a draw. Apparently,
oh my God.
Yeah, the Chinese Grandmaster missed his victory, and you can look at his body language. He's like, how did I let it go? I mean, I was winning at some stage, but what's done is done, and you can see the players immediately after the game, they're sharing their thoughts, what could have been and what happened.
Yeah, and it's so important for the overall standings, Arthur's 100%, and here we have the results of the round 7 of the Blitz portion of Grandmaster Triathlon. What is super important here that Václav Finek gets half a point, Alexandra gets half a point, but in this situation there is still 12.5 point difference between these two, so it gets Alexandra in a more dangerous situation because there are 3 more rounds to go.
Yeah, and even though in the Masters everything is clear who's going to make it top 4, here are Domos, Aronian, and Jose Martinez that picked up some points. So this is going to change the rankings in a bit. So let's have a look. How do they look like? So when we talk about the Challengers Tournament, so you see Kostyuk has 13.5 points against Václav Finek's 26. So she is currently out of top 4 because she needs to be within 12-point margin to make it. But we have more Blitz games to be played.
And for Carissa Yip, unfortunately, with the loss to Vaishali, she's already out of contention because with the remaining 3 games, even if she gets 3 points, she's not surpassing Alexandra. So one more time, in Generations Challenge, Vaishali and Carissa will unfortunately leave us for today. And in the Masters Tournament, Matthias and Jose. But the big question is remaining, will Alexandra remain in the top 4 and reachable distance to Václav?
Do you think she's going to make it?
I really hope she will, and I think she will. And you?
I would be really great because I think if we would have 4 players instead of 3 in the final stage, this means more games, more fun, more stuff we can follow. But dear viewers, we have to go for a very, very short break, and we have 3 more rounds to go. And the big question, obviously, is if Alexandra Kosteniuk, the Just Queen, she can make it top 4. So we're going to find our answers shortly after a very short break. See you soon.
Sie wollte Orange höher im Markt positionieren und hat Partner gesucht für Werke.
The standard Swiss industry said, oh no, I don't want to work with you.
It's a high level of watchmaking and micromechanics.
Ich bin zwar Uhrmacher gelernt, aber man lernt in der Ausbildung nicht von null weg ein Uhrwerk zu bauen.
Noise began to build about this little company in Switzerland.
I would have told them, don't try this, it's never going to work.
At the end of the day, precision is the art.
Aber muss besser als Swiss sein. Das ist nicht wegen Arroganz, das ist die Voraussetzung. Sonst überleben wir nicht.
And we're back live from the 59th International Biel Chess Festival here in Biel Congress Center, where today everybody is playing Blitz, including the Masters and Generation Challengers tournament players, to determine who is going to make it to the Final Four stage. We already know the players in the Masters, and unfortunately after today's round, Matthias Bluebaum and Jose Martinez, they're going to leave us. Also in the Generation Challenger tournament, Vaishali and Carissa Yip are officially out. And the only question is if Alexandra Kosteniuk can reduce the gap between her and the tournament leader, Václav Finek.
But that's just to give also some love to the other players who are now participating. Levon Oronen still in the lead of the tournament, facing Aydin Suleiman Lee. So let's stick with this game, because I would really love to see how creative Levon will be in this game. And whenever we see some critical moments on the other boards, we can also switch around. And we have the Caro-Kann and c5 immediately.
All right, so pretty trendy stuff. C5 was played, d6 on c5, e6. White is, queen h5.
Going for an attack, going for checkmate, scholar's mate in some way, but of course it's not possible. Bishop will not be able to get to c4.
It pretty much gives me the vibes of Levon, the game he played in the one of the classical, no, it was a classical, it was a rapid game against Matthias Bluebaum, the 5th round of the rapid tournament, where he defeated one of the biggest experts in the French defense in a stunning fashion. The pawn structure, to be honest, here looks quite similar.
And h6 was played, and now there are some questions in the position as well. You cannot jump with a knight to g5. You cannot go bishop g5, so... or actually, can you? Because the rook is being pinned. The pawn.
But I think first, of course, White wants to complete development, and then sure, something on g5 might land, because black going to take on g5, the rook on h8 is under attack. Also, it's not very clear where the white king is going to go. Is it going to be the short side or the long side? For more spicy stuff, I would love to see a long castle, but probably short castle is just being the pragmatic choice.
Yeah, there are many ideas, and a6 is on the board right now, probably highlighting that he wants to develop the bishop there on the b7, or does he?
Yeah, it could be an opportunity at some point. Sometimes in the French defense, they play like this, b5 and the bishop b7. I think also the idea could be to take away the b5 square for the white knight. King of 8, you got to protect the pawn on g7 in some way, but this also means that the black king at the king side is never going to feel safe.
Oh, king f8. Well, and what are you going to do about the rook on f8? That's a big question, but f5 immediately. So saying if you want to take on f6, you take it now. But then black is going to have the e5 break in the center, and Levon is taking now e5, attacking the queen, threatening the e4 fork. Is it something what Aydin will play now?
Not yet, because there's going to be queen g7, but according to an engine, e6 and f6 is not the best move that he could have done. It makes perfect sense, though. So according to Stockfish, queen g3 was the better choice here. Aydin is thinking, is he really considering to take with the pawn?
Well, he thinks what to take with queen, pawn, or the knight. There are a few options in this position. And knight f6 finally targeting the queen.
Looks reasonable. So obviously this game is really sharpening up, but I think it's also a good idea we check the other games. So let's have a bit overview to have a proper feeling what's happening in all the other games, because we have 6 games currently happening right now. And also, obviously, the big question is, how is Alexandra Kosteniuk do it? Is she in a situation where she can win?
Yeah, she is a bit worse against Carissa Yip here, for whom the tournament is already finishing today. We see that g6 was the last move played, but moves are coming in so quickly. And also another question is Václav Finek is facing against Vaishali Rameshbabu in the bottom right corner. We can see he's attacking against Vaishali Rameshbabu, and he has an extra material there. So if he extends the lead, there'll be a bad news for Alexandra.
Yeah, a lot of action happening, but let's maybe once again go to Kosteniuk's game, because this is still the only unclear game where it might have major implications in the overall rankings if she's going to make it to the top 4. For Carissa, this is a tournament to forget, at least a Blitz tournament, because currently, unfortunately, she sits at 7 consecutive losses in a row. For Kosteniuk, it's a bit better, 50% score. The position, again, for White is a bit better, but we already saw in a time scramble, Angelika, everything changes dramatically.
So at least psychologically for Alexander, there are some chances and perspectives in this game to get to the final stage. This is what she's thinking right now about. And F3 is being played right now. There are no knight F2 threat, but rook B2.
Yeah, rook B8 threatens with rook B2, so I think this knight on D3 has to go. Bishop D3, C takes on D3, you have to watch out for bishop F5, so white has to sack the exchange, and this is exactly what the American does.
Yes, she goes for it, taking that nasty knight which was there, but getting a lot of pawns. Now she has 2 pawns for the exchange and very active bishops in the position. We see evaluation bar went a little bit up, so it means white is better here. But Alexandra has to try to start pushing, and we see a 5, opening up the long diagonal, closing the bishop on D3. How do you like the move?
Doesn't look really good for black. I think here white suddenly has a simple plan. C4, C5, D6, maybe try to build up some battery of the queen and the ducks with bishop. Unfortunate events here are happening for Alexandra Kosnik because, again, she's in this must-win situation. And also her direct competitor for the place in top 4, Václav Finnick, right now is playing against Vaishali. He has a better position. The position is still quite unclear, but it's all about Kosnik's chances here. Is she going to make it? It looks difficult.
It looks very difficult for her, but still she's trying. Meanwhile, we have also result Tong Xiao winning the game. That also doesn't help Alexandra because he's also having a lot of points. Could be also the first place surpassing Václav soon, but no, queen B6.
Here comes the white knight, eyeballing for the C6 square. It's not so easy also for white to figure out how to make progress. Oh, knight B3, bishop A4. Was this a miss by the American?
Oh, no.
Because the pawn on B3 might be dropping. I mean, this knight retreat was so unfortunate. She played it like within 1 second, and now suddenly bishop takes on B3, queen B3 is a threat, or does she really care about the pawn? I have a feeling, Angelika, it's all about these passed pawns in the center.
But 15 seconds for Carissa. She has to make a move. She has to play something. Queen D2 is on the board.
I think
the
she
pawn
actually...
is falling.
It's a bit surprising that she didn't want to trade the queens. I would have thought with having such an exposed king, you want to get the queens off the board. She wants to play bishop C2, queen D4. No?
Yeah.
No. Rook C1 instead.
Rook C1 defending the bishop, but bishop A3, you have to watch out.
Bishop A3, bishop B4, bishop G7. It seems like there's going to be a bishop move for black.
Yeah, putting even more pressure on the B2 square. Also, the A pawn can be marching very soon. Now, queen F2, what does white want? Queen D4 is a threat?
Queen D4, G4, so white is going for some kings to attack ideas, and Kosnik has to be a bit careful here.
Bishop
That's why
D4.
she trades the bishops.
Yeah, she's trading off the bishop, not allowing any kind of business, but now Carissa is happy to trade the queens on C2.
I don't think the black can trade the queens and the bishops. I think at this stage, Kosnik has to keep the queens on the board, otherwise who is going to stop these pawns? Definitely not black, so you got to keep the queens on the board. Bishop C3, queen C3. Okay, pretty interesting.
Okay, now she has to step backwards to B6 most likely. Well, we see the move. Yeah, she's stepping backwards to B7.
Does, yeah. So here, white plays very quickly. Rook C5, so that things get really chaotic. The
D7 pawn, watch out. D8 is a big threat.
The pawn is going forward, but I have a feeling that white will be also able to open up the things that the kings have with some sort of a G4. No, rook E2, rook E8. White is winning here.
Rook E8, you have to stop it with only queen F8.
Checkmate threat on H8.
Queen F8, you have to stop and give up the queen, but position is completely lost now for Alexandra.
That's it. I do not see what else. And I think with this loss, the tournament might be over for her because she needed the victory here. Now it's Carissa Yip who is about to score her first victory and also shut the door to Kosnik in the final. There you go. There's the resignation.
Wow, absolutely insane finish to this game. But what is happening at Václav's game right now? Because he is playing against Vaishali, trying to push for the win. Alexandra doesn't get a single point with this victory, but Václav is.
And actually, yeah, so Václav's, I do not have his feed here, so here...
Let's go to the game of Jezor Dogmush against Jose Martinez.
Yeah, so it seems to be gone. So let's go to this game instead. So here the Turkish player is playing against Jose Martinez Alcantara, where he is about to lose his game because finally Martinez showed up and he played a really great game. So I think so far for the Mexican Grandmaster, the Blitz tournament has been a bit of a disappointment because like he was looking for this comeback. He wins the game at least.
Where was this game earlier at the beginning of the Blitz tournament? We still have one more game ongoing. It's Matthias Blubaum against Lim Le. Let's immediately go there and see what's happening because we're going to have and enjoy this position and this game for quite some moves because it's Rook and the Knight against the Rook.
Yeah, this is also the kind of position you can play for a very, very long time. So technically it's a draw, but especially in the Blitz game, you want to play it as long as you can. By the way, look at the clock situation. Angelika Lim Le has 47 seconds versus the Germans 8 seconds. I think for Matthias, this position is quite simple to hold as long as he's not blundering the rook.
Yeah, he shouldn't blunder. That's 100%. But the Knight can be very tricky. You can just jump and target. And also getting to the, the rank on some border of the board, it's pretty tricky. So you should keep your king as close to the center as possible.
Yeah, so here Black is trying to make some progress. I mean, with the bishop would have been a bit more fun because there are some positions where you can actually win this. Here, historically, I think maybe Garry Kasparov was the only one who was able to defeat Judith Polgar, but there have been some separate occasions when the stronger side wins this, but ultimately it's very difficult.
You have a confirmation. Move 60 was the last move where the pawn was on the board. So from the move 60 with the black pieces, we have now move 83. So it means 23 moves right now. So they need to play 27 more moves. And then White will have an opportunity to claim a draw, but of course the players don't really know it. Only the arbiter know it, and he can also start claiming it on 75th move. So far, so again, 60-second move.
Yeah, so I think this is also the only remaining game of the round, round 8. And then we're going to have 2 more rounds, 2 more Blitz rounds. So here, Black seems to be making some sort of a progress, but even with the king cut off to the final rank, even this is holding, so you really need some kind of help from the opponent.
Yeah, now 31 moves that they played already. Playing moves coming very quickly. We see that king is not even cut off on the last rank. So for that reason, there is no big danger right now for Matthias. But he has to watch out. And, talking about this endgame, Arturs, have you had an opportunity to win such one against someone?
Maybe not Rook and Knight versus Rook, but Rook and Bishop versus Rook. I think it's a classic. And I have a feeling like every single Blitz tournament where you get to play, there's always this is such a just classic. Rook and Knight versus Rook or Rook and Bishop versus Rook. And like I've been playing in many open tournaments, in Blitz open tournaments, and as soon as you see there's somebody playing, you already know what's happening there. It's one of those endgames.
And we see the king is marching to the other side of the board. Lim Le is still trying his best, but of course it's not so easy. And as you were mentioning, with the bishop, it's much easier, if you can say. Yeah, with the knight, it's much more difficult to get the victory. But still, Lim Le is trying. Every point is so important because they are going to pace. Lim Le is going to go to the finals, where extra point is important for the overall standings.
Yeah, the game obviously continues, and I think they're already approaching the 50-move mark. Do we have actually an update? How many moves is it? And when Matthias can claim a draw? I mean, he could always have a look at the screen. It's already there, yeah?
It's already 110th move. Since 110, so already a few moves. It's already 50, so whenever he claims, it will be there. Otherwise, the arbiter will intervene at 75th move.
Right. So, all right. So at any moment when Matthias is going to claim a draw, it's going to be a draw. So arbiters can intervene after move 75. Until that moment, I think the players are going to play it out. No progress so far for the Vietnamese player.
And what I recall is that in the World Blitz Championship, was it Donchenko, the German Grandmaster, who stopped the clock?
I remember that.
One move to the checkmate in the rook and the bishop against the rook. He stopped the clock and he counts. He asks the arbiter to count how many moves, and he thinks he did 50 moves already. And it was indeed a draw, and Hikaru was completely laughing.
Yeah, that was against Hikaru Kumar. I remember that. So here you see the White King is pushed back to the final rank, and I think Matthias can safely play this until there is a forced checkmate, or he's about to drop a rook. He could even, like walk willingly himself into the checkmate and then just call the arbiter for fun, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Move 70 is approaching now, so next move is move 70. Now here, in 5 more moves, arbiter may intervene and stop the game.
All right. So where do you go? Which direction with the king? Okay, there's no progress. Rook e4. Come on, Matthias, you can claim a draw already.
Yeah, he can claim, but he doesn't want to risk getting extra time for the opponent.
Maybe he just likes the same game too much, you know.
He just enjoys. He can claim it by example of Donchenko, just move before the checkmate.
You know, I once did this. I tried to. Oh, there we go. Finally, they agreed to a draw. Doesn't matter what happened before. So players are smiling. They're sharing some laughs. But of course, every Blitz tournament features pretty much this just classic. It's great to see Matthias smiling, but this round is over.
And it's not such a happy tournament for him here. Even though he played a draw, he is eliminated from the rankings. But here results: Jose wins finally, activating mode. Levona Ronian scores a victory. Xiaotong and Carissa scores a victory against Alexandra. Very important for Alexandra because now she's in tough spot for the remaining rounds, and Václav Finek extending his lead.
I think it's mathematically almost impossible for Kostanyuk now to finish in top 4 because she's, this is 13.5 points behind the tournament leader. So a couple of things need to happen. She needs to score 2 victories out of 2, and Václav Finek needs to lose the last 2 games because, once again, the final stage, the top 4 players in both tournaments, they qualify. But there's a rule. You need to be within 12 points to the tournament leader. As you can see, Kostanyuk is in the 4th spot, so she would be normally going to the final stage. However, you see there is a 13.5 point gap between her, so it needs to be at least 12 points. So I think mathematically it's possible, but if you ask me, realistically, I don't think so.
And Andrus, why it is important is because they will have 3 more rounds in the final stage. So with every victory in the classical portion, 4 points can be added so that the 4th place could theoretically still win the tournament, winning all the games. And of course, in case the 1st place will lose all the rounds.
So maybe it's still going to change. But so of course, we are definitely going to get our answers like within the next 1 hour or so. So let's check the current pairings for the next round, round number 9, the penultimate round. So what are the pairings? What does immediately catches our eye? Kostanyuk is playing against Václav Finek. Okay, look at that. We already know which game we're going to follow.
And that would be a perfect opportunity for Alexandra to score a point, as well as stop Václav Finek from scoring another victory. Marca Material will face Carissa Yip. For her, the tournament is already finishing today, as well as for Vaishali, who will play against Tao Shong. And in Masters tournament, Jose will take on Lim Le. Just now winning the round. Will he, try to continue his winning streak? That's a big question. Aydin Suleiman Lee against Matthias Blübaum and Yezer Dogmush against Levon Ron. And those pairings we kind of already see in the Masters top 4 are already fixed, are already qualified. They're fighting right now for those extra 1.5 points because it will be important later on in the final stage for the Grandmaster Triathlon. It would be better, of course, to get into the final stage with extra points.
Of course, yeah, every single point matters. And one thing we learned from the last year's editions is that it's always very, very close race. So Lim Le, the 3-time winner, is still here. Last year he was not here. He was replaced by Vladimir Fedoseev, who ultimately won the event in the very end.
Does it count that he won? That he was replaced?
I mean, it's almost like the victory. And here's once again the format of the triathlon. So it's the classical tournament, which is wrapped up. It's the rapid tournament, which already is finished. Today we're following the Blitz tournament, 10 rounds. Right now, round 9 is about to start. And then top 4 players get to the final 4 stage if you are within the 12 points of the tournament leader.
Oh, that's, that's already how much we have. Chess 960 behind us, Rapid, the main classical part is already behind us. I'm a super exciting event. And these are final rounds of the Blitz tournament, which will show us who will remain here for the final stage, for the final 3 rounds. And we see, by the way, there are also other players. By the way, I see Savita. She's the Asian Women's Champion. She was passing by, also participating in the Biel's Open tournament and the Blitz today. But it's all about Alexandra and Václav. Will Alexandra score a victory, such an important one, and try to stop Václav from eliminating her to the finals?
Yeah, it looks really difficult for Alexandra at this stage, especially since Václav is on a roll. Like, he has 6.5 out of 8 in the Blitz event. Like, he's one of the best players here. But you never know. You always fight until the very end. And one thing we know about the chess queen, she's a big fighter. She's the former world champion. So everything could happen. I think that's also going to be the game we're going to follow. Here we see everybody is getting seated and ready to go.
Everyone is ready. We see Tang Xiao against Vaishali. And here we have the first moves incoming. And let's see which openings do we have on the 9th round.
Oh, I even see some Scandinavian. Vaishali.
Do you like it?
Lower. Of course I love it. I mean, I wrote a course on it. So Tang Xiao against Vaishali, lower left corner. Why not play some fun opening here? What else do we see? Some spicy stuff. I see some Pirts. This must be Iranian. Yes, of course it's Iranian. Because when I talked to him privately, I asked him, what's your one of favorite openings? He said, don't tell it to anyone, it's Pirts.
And you told everyone, the
I
whole
just
world.
Shame on me. Shame on me. So what do we see? How is Alexandra doing against Václav Finek? What is this?
Yeah, the castle just been played. I think it's a Lapin. And as we were saying, we're going to focus on this game because there is important for overall rankings.
Yeah, and it looks like she really likes the Cecilia Lapin. Also, I think we saw Carissa Yip playing the line, and if my memory is not failing me, then Vaishali also has played a couple of times. The Sicilian Lapin is quite an underrated opening, so why not? Why not give it a try? What do we make of this position here?
Now we have the Queen of Black is being very active on the c5, while White already finished development castle, but the problem with the bishop on c1, how are we going to develop it and where? But for Black, feeling like the moves aren't coming easy, but Václav is still taking time in this position. Probably he thinks where to put the bishop. Will it be bishop g4, pinning the knight?
Yeah, there's many good moves. Yeah, like you want to develop the pieces. Okay, queen c7, knight c6. So the tournament situation is really simple here. Kosteniuk needs a win. That's it. Nothing else works. If she doesn't win, she is out. So if here Václav Finek makes a draw, Kosteniuk is out, and we are going to have a final stage of the Challengers tournament with only 3 players. So this also means somebody in the classical portion is going to have a rest day pretty much every round. So, and even if she wins this, it's not enough because she's going to have to score another victory the next round.
Yeah, but still theoretically possible, winning 2 games. I'm still hoping Alexandra will do so, but Václav Finek being amazing so far in the Blitz tournament, so far doing so great, also leading the tournament, and with his extending the lead, eliminating players alongside. Now, knight f5. Wait a second.
Oh,
Wait
there's
a
some
second.
tactics. Engine screens. Bishop takes on f7 and b4. I think it's very difficult to spot this in a Blitz game. So there's a bit of a more or less forcing sequence. Takes, b4, knight c6, and queen c4. Yeah, it's not so easy to spot this, and Kosteniuk missed it.
Yeah, it's so tough to get such an opportunity in the Blitz, because you have to understand, either you spend more time on this move, invest more time, and find bishop f7, but then you will get less time in some critical stages of the game. So what Alexander decided is just to be solid in this position, stepping backwards. Now, by the way, b4 at some moment can be played, but knight goes back to c.
I mean, the point is that bishop f7 pretty much never works in those positions, and that's why you are taught that 2 minor pieces are always stronger than the rook and the pawn. That's why she missed it. This opportunity is gone. She's repeating it. No, what?
Wait, will we have a third move repetition?
No, this also confirms that none of the players really see the combination, but it's a bit unusual. I don't think she's going to play a draw. She can't do it.
Yeah, for overall standings, she cannot do so. Having right now 13.5 points. For Václav Finek, it's 77 points. And she takes it. She continues playing, taking the knight on c6.
I love it. I mean, it's also from Václav some mind games because he's definitely aware of the tournament situation, and he's like, okay, I know you have to play it for the win, and even I don't think he really wants the draw. He repeated the position, Kostyuk just committed to knight takes on c6, and suddenly Black's game looks to be really nice because if he gets to play e5 and f5, if somebody's better, it's only Black.
Yeah, and for Václav, as we're saying, the draw would mean he is eliminating Alexandra with having too big of a distance, more than 12 points, 12.5. Right now they're having 13.5 point distance. So she has to win this game and the next one, the final round, she has to win as well to still have a chance to be in contention for the final stage.
Let's check maybe very quickly the overview of the other games because this game is having a bit of a slower pace, and let's see. Are we seeing some madness happening here in any other tournament?
Yeah, I see in the top left corner we have Lim Le sacrificing a bishop on g4 for an attack against Jose Martinez.
Is that a game you want to check?
Yeah. I want to see what's happening there.
Let's go.
Why you cannot take the bishop on b4?
Let's go. So where's the bishop on b4? Oh.
g4.
So something bad is about to happen to the white king, and here the Vietnamese grandmaster is going for a beautiful attack. He's down some material. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's exchange, but for many pawns.
As remember, yesterday Lim Le suffered a very difficult loss in the classical round. Today he started also not so well in the Blitz. For him it would be very important to score a victory to feel confident in the rankings for the final stage.
And it's getting really difficult for white to survive this, even though he's up on exchange. Bishop d7, a quiet move right there.
Offering a trade with the bishops, because after you take on d7, knight on c4 is going to hang. There are so many pieces hanging. Rook on e3, knight on a4, bishop on b5. You know, and he decides to step away with a rook, but then suddenly you can take on b5 and queen h3 checkmate threat. Take on b5 and queen h3 checkmate. Right. Almost checkmate.
Yeah, it's getting really chaotic, but I think it's also a good idea that we go back to the Alexandra Kostyuk game because it seems that she is having some sort of an advantage. Maybe there's still hope for the former world champion here because once again, check this out, 2 bishops.
I really have a big hope for her. I really want her to win this one, to get the point and in final round get one more and stay in the finals. I would really love to follow her final games.
Whoa! Rook takes on e6. What a beautiful combination here. Bishop d7 and bishop e6 takes it f5, and she found it on second. So here, Alexandra Kostyuk just got an extra pawn and technically winning position. Is it winning, or maybe Black has chances to save it?
There are 2 pawn islands for white, so pawns are less. There are less weaknesses, but for Black there are more weaknesses, and Rook is ready to enter, but knight f6 stopping that. Now c4, she's highlighting the c5 pawn, and she wants to attack it very soon.
That's a really great move. That's why Black immediately seeks some counterplay at the queen side with a5, a4. You want to trade as many pawns as you can, but a pawn on c5 is terminally a big weakness. How do you defend a pawn on c5? I think that Finek is going to lose this.
Yeah. He is in a big trouble right now. Also, she's up on the clock, 41 seconds against 18 for Václav Finek, and he has to try to find all the only options. By the way, pawn on f5 is hanging. Can you take it?
Yeah, it's a free pawn, and it also comes with a check on top of that. So rook takes to f5, rook h5. Here, Kostyuk is doing excellent job to stay alive, never write down her chances. So she's a formidable champion after all. So Václav Finek might be going down in this critical match, and who knows, maybe Alexandra is still going to make it.
Do you have a b4 move? And yes, she's playing it using the fact the knight was hanging on a5. What an insane match. Now b5, b6, the pawn might be running there on the queen side. Watch out, Václav. Will he be able to stop it?
Simplify the position. This has got to be an easy winning technical position for white, or do you play king f2? Kostyuk, no, she's winning. King f2. Also notice this rook on h8 is so unfortunately for the Czech grandmaster position. Knight f5, g4. Easy moves for white.
Pawn on e7 is going to fall very soon. King steps away now, g4. No rook e5.
I love it how Alexandra doesn't rush with the trade. Now she can push the B pawn, she can push the pawns at the king side. Knight f7. Here black is trying to stay alive.
Giving some checks just to ask some questions to black. Where will black keep the king, on the king side or the queen side? Some questions.
Rook d1, king f6. The rook is still on h8. White is technically winning. There goes the b pawn. At some point, you have to push it forward. Bishop e3, b6, rook b1, and get the new queen on the board.
There is now bishop d4, threat winning the rook on c8, so Václav has to step away with the king. He is doing so.
b6. Is she going to do it? She's really, really close.
She is offering a trade of the rooks because then position is already completely winning for her in this endgame.
Bishop e3, there's the rook trade. Now that's it. That's it. She's going to do this. There goes the g-pawn. g5, h5, bishop takes on h6. Okay, I don't know. I wouldn't want to give up the pawn on b6, but she's got this. There's the resignation.
Wow, absolutely incredible. Alexandra getting a must-win here in the round 9 of the Blitz portion, but we still have one more game ongoing. Let's move to the Masters. Adin Salimanli against Matthias Blubaum. What do we have here?
Can black win this? No, it actually looks like a draw.
But
Is
the
black
king
gonna
is
make it?
too far?
Yeah, it's too far. It's too far.
Oh.
Whatever happened before, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a draw. You can see players are blitzing it out that even the board stopped registering the moves, and it's a stalemate on the board. Lovely.
Wow, wow. Almost a mate.
Almost a make, but
what a round
what a
9.
round.
Absolutely incredible. We see the players' reaction. That's what happens when the Blitz is happening. Everyone is super excited. The players as well. The surprising moves are coming. But what does it mean for the results of the round 9?
Yeah, but obviously the big result of the round was Kostanyuk's incredible comeback against Václav Finnick, the tournament leader. And why this game is so important, because now she's once again having chances to stay alive. So if you're going to check now the current tournament standings of both Masters and Generation Challengers, as you can see, in the Masters, everything is clear. Aronian, Suleimanli, Lemler, Domus, they are in top 4. They're just having a lot of fun right now, having some blitz games. But in the Challengers tournament, Alexandra Kostanyuk is in top 4, but only 12.5 points behind the leader. And this, I think, Angelika, makes things really simple. In the last round, for Alexandra Kostanyuk to make it to top 4 final stage and be part of the classical games after the rest day tomorrow, she needs to win the last round on demand if Václav Finnick doesn't win his game.
Yeah, that's a tough choice here for Alexandra. How is she going to continue also? She's going to have black pieces in that round. Will be super tough, but I still hope she wins the last game and she gets into the final.
Is it going to happen, dear viewers? You have no really choice, but you have to watch it yourself, because is Kostanyuk going to make it to the final 4 stage or be able to win the last round on demand? Or if Václav Finnick is going to make it impossible, we're going to find it out very shortly after this break. Stay tuned.
Un champion d'échecs, il doit maîtriser toutes les cadences. J'étais choqué que le championnat du monde de partie classique se finissait en départage, en partie rapide. Là m'est venue l'idée du triathlon, donc jouer les 3 cadences, bien sûr en pondérant les points. De proposer un nouveau format, un essai en 2019 qui était concluant, et maintenant c'est même dans les projets de la FIDE de faire de notre format, sous un autre nom, pas triathlon mais total chess, d'en faire le nouveau format du championnat du monde. C'est une certaine fierté pour nous. On est le plus vieux festival du monde sans interruption. Beaucoup d'engagement, beaucoup de responsabilités, beaucoup de stress. Du coup, c'est là où je trouve l'énergie et la force mentale qu'il faut pour pouvoir réaliser un festival avec 16 tournois, 12 Open sur 2 semaines, de m'inspirer pour trouver la force de continuer.
This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. This is the final round of today's Blitz event here in the Biel Congress Center, where we're following the action of the Masters and Generation Challenge tournament to figure out who is going to make it to the Final Four stage. We already know the players in the Masters tournament, but in the Challengers, things are not so clear because Alexandra Kosteniuk is still within the striking distance. So let's have some fun.
Yeah, we're already going crazy here in the final round. During the Blitz, so many things are happening. And the pairings could not be better for Alexandra because in the final round, she is facing Vaishali with the black pieces. So she has a huge opportunity to score a victory since Vaishali didn't have such a great tournament. And Václav Finek is facing Marco Materia, who could try and stop him, but he has white pieces.
Yeah, so essentially, Alexandra Kosteniuk needs a score, either a draw or a win, and hope that Finek doesn't get any score whatsoever. So we are going to see if Václav is going to help Alexandra in some way. Maybe he wants to have more competition in the final stage. I don't know. But when we talk about the Masters tournament here, you see also we have some very interesting matchups. So, of course, we're going to try to follow those games as well and maybe try to give some love. So I think it would be a good idea. We could start with the first game, Matthias Blubam against Jezer Domos, and then have a peek what's happening elsewhere and go see if Kosteniuk is going to make it to the final stage.
Yeah, and here we have the standings. One more time, dear viewers, you see Alexandra Kosteniuk is on the 4th place right now with 14.5 points. So top 4 are qualifying unless the player on the 4th place is having a big gap, more than 12 points. So it means 12.5 and more. For now, Alexandra Kosteniuk, as we can see, 14.5. She has exactly 12.5 point distance. So, for example, let's say if Václav loses his game and Alexandra gets half a point, she'll have 12 points. Okay, she's in.
Yep.
She's in. But if she wins and Václav plays a draw, again, one more time, she is in. But if Václav wins, it all doesn't matter. The result of Kosteniuk doesn't matter at all.
Exactly, and it's also really simple. If Finek wins his game, that there's no matter what Kosteniuk does, then this tournament is officially over. Also, by the way, in the Masters tournament, the Ronian has got his lead ahead of everyone else by 3.5 points. So he's doing really well here in this tournament. So here you see the players are being called to tables one by one, starting with the table to the right. Everybody is getting to the final round. You see there's a lot of spectators. Also in the Biel Congress Center, this is happening on the 2nd floor. There's also, by the way, open tournament happening as we speak. It started a bit earlier, and the rounds are synchronized.
Yeah, indeed. And we have the players being called out. So far, it's only, is it Tong Shao sitting on the stage? So you can see, getting ready. All the rest are not there yet. And I think we're also going to have some excitement there. Yeah, Shao Tong is there, sitting, and he's always having, you know, this red jacket, so I always mix him up with some of our team workers, because as you see, all of us are wearing the red t-shirts beside me. I'm allowed to wear.
You're the only exception, Angeliška, yeah?
Yes, indeed. So whenever Tong Shao is on the stage and with the red jacket, I'm always mixing up with someone from our team, so yeah. Let's see what's going to happen. But we see also the players from the Open Blitz tournament, which is happening. And one more time, Blitz, Biel International Chess Festival, it unites with itself more than 15 tournaments, starting from the early morning, finishing in the evening. And of course, in the heart of it is the Grandmaster Triathlon. That's what we are following here. Yeah,
and the players are waiting for the go for the final round to start. There's a bit of a delay. The anticipation is building up. Now they're leaving again. They might maybe do a wave. I don't know.
Yes.
Since, by the way, tomorrow
Tonight?
we have a... Tonight? No, I was actually speaking about tomorrow. Like, okay, you're speaking about the FIFA World Cup, obviously, final, which is happening later today. I think everybody, after watching some good chess today, they're going to immediately go to their friends and have some fun watching the World Cup final.
We'll go to France?
Yeah, we'll definitely go to France. We will do it. We will do it. You'll join us.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, of course. But I mean, tomorrow is the International Chess Day as well, right? So
yeah,
big events. happening.
Huge events are definitely here, and well, we see that players are getting seated and clapping now, while the players are being called out one by one. So we see Vaishali is entering the stage.
It's also, like it was so great to see Vaishali here playing, and it does feel a bit sad that after today she is leaving. And it's like it's really nice gesture by the organizers, like to give them also some special recognition that this is their final game, and there's Alexandra Kosteniuk. Like it feels like it's something a bit special, and I'm hoping that after this year's unfortunate result, that Vaishali is going to return, maybe already as a world champion.
And maybe already in the Masters tournament, who knows? But yeah, for Václav Finek is definitely the tournament going really exceptional. And here is Marco Matera is also getting seated against him because he also won the not generations, but Challenger tournament in the Prague earlier this year.
Indeed. So these are two really bright, strong young players. Also, I have a feeling that's the game we are going to follow very closely. I think that's Carissa. Carissa Yip also, sadly, she is going to leave us after today's event. This is a Blitz tournament for Carissa to forget.
And she had a swan on her shirt. Very, very cute. By the way, her name of the team was called Mr. Birdie and Friends during the Hong Kong team Blitz and Rapid Championship. In the name of the bird that she lost last year. She had used to have a pet bird and unfortunately died. Yeah.
I did not know the story. Oh, here's a Ronin against Jose Martinez. Two brilliant players of the master section, also Martinez. Also Matthias Bluebaum, unfortunately, will be leaving us. So this is the last opportunity for us to see them playing live.
Yeah, and this is also the moment where you see Yeser Dogmush entering also the field, and Limble, our three-time Grandmaster Triathlon champions, getting seated, and final player to arrive. Is it Aydin Solimanli? Yes, it is. For them, the tournament is still going on, and it's, I think, really cool feature that we have here now, that players are being welcomed to be seated, because it's going to be a final round of all of them playing, 12 of them playing, and we see the moves incoming, Arthurs. We have the round start.
All right, so let's jump immediately into the action, and we are going to start with the overview of the other games. Oh, the moves are incoming so quickly. There's some oddities, for example, by Charlie's first move, knight c3 against Alexandra Kosteniuk. That is fun.
Yeah, it looks like fun, and Alexandra is already pushing the pawn forward. What's happening in the Masters? We see there is
Cecilia and Rosalima, yeah.
Oh.
Aronian versus Jose Martinez. Then there's Yeser Domush versus Matthias Bluebaum.
It's Indian.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's happening. And then we have Limle versus Aydin Solimanli. It's some Catalan. Yeah, the players are, everybody is really so deep in the prep here. Carissa Yip versus Don Shao. This is again some, I have no idea, some anti-Sicilian early bishop g5,
some
bishop
really
e3.
big fun happening here. Many different openings. Václav Finek against Marco Matera. So we can see f5 is on the board. Stonewall is being played.
Yeah. So, all right. So you see, the players are getting slowly out of the opening phase, and let's go now to the game of Matthias Bluebaum against Yeser Domush. Have a big peek. What's happening there? I think we're going to be jumping between the games quite a bit because we want to see everyone in action here. This is the final round after all. Speaking about both players' performance in the Blitz tournament, for Matthias, it's 2.5 points out of 9 in the Blitz section. Yes is doing a bit better with 5.5 points. He's solidly in top 4. The position is quite a bit fighting.
Yeah, very much fighting position. And for Yeser Dogmush, and he's the youngest 2700 in the history of chess, the tournament has started with a bitter note. But then in the classical, he scored super important victories also yesterday. And well, today in the Blitz, he was also doing pretty well. So he's established confident third And so fourth place together with Limle.
It's quite a bit fighting position. Let's keep jumping. Let's maybe now go to the game of Levon Ronian against Jose Martinez. Again, this is the final game of Jose here in Biel this year. I hope he's going to come back. This is some sort of Sicilian here where Ronian has played Rook G1, thinking about the long castle.
Wow, what a position. And this, yeah, I think definitely he's going to try to push, but I feel like the game is pretty balanced here.
Yeah, so we are going to go to the game of Kostanyuk versus Vaishali.
Let's
still
go.
want to. You want to check something else?
Yeah, let's check very briefly.
Very briefly, let's also check what's happening. Limle versus Aydin Soleimani here. This is the current position here. Again, Black apparently has a better position. So both players, we are going to see them in the final stage. That's the current position here.
But some crazy pawn structure.
Yeah, I think Black is simply going to play e5 at some point, but let's focus now on the important stuff. I mean, obviously every game is important, but the big question is if Vaishali can stop Alexandra Kostanyuk. So first we're going to check that game and keep one eye at all times in the other game, Václav Finek against Marco Materia in the Challenger.
And look at this, Arthurs. We have a pawn all the way on e6. Queen just jumped to a4, creating, some ideas. Alexandra is offering a trade of the queen. Maybe she also wants to later take that pawn on a6 with the bishop in some way. But apparently computer doesn't really like it. Maybe she should have continued with the attack on the king side. Why didn't she do so?
No, I mean, it's a pretty reasonable idea because I think that if she trades the queens, then her position is really safe. C takes on d4. I think this is a good move for Black. You want to get the queens off the board here. Queen takes on a4, rook takes on a4, and then something like c takes on d4. But did she not miss knight d4 and e5? Things could get really tricky here.
I would suggest to go and check what's happening in the game of Václav against Marco, because it's super important also for Alexandra and the standings in Generations Challenge.
All right, so I think we're going to jump between these games quite a bit. So here, this is the current position here. Václav Finek play with the white color against Marco Materia. If he wins, it's immediately over for Alexandra Kostanyuk. And things are looking pretty good for the chess queen here because Václav Finek is having a bit of an issue here. His position is worse, and he's only having 33 seconds on the clock.
For Marco Materia, it's 2 minutes and 13 seconds in a very comfortable position. Bishop e8 trying to maneuver the bishop on the better square. So tough. That loss to Alexandra shook some confidence of Václav, and we might see another disappointing result here.
Let's jump back to the Vaishali's game against Alexandra Kostanyuk here, because again, if Kostanyuk doesn't win this, then maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe, of course, there is the scenario that we discussed earlier on that for her a draw could work. If Václav Finek loses, of course, for her to hope for that kind of scenario, it's really difficult. So first and foremost, here, Kostanyuk needs to win this.
And Vaishali has 15 seconds right now on the clock. Knight b3 is being played. Big question, where do you place the rook? Also, it's a fork to the bishop. And she has to make a move. It's 7 seconds now.
Looks really good for Black. Queens are off the board.
Queens are off the board. You have to step away with the rook. And now, big question, can you try somehow put even more pressure on the white?
Knight c5, knight e3. This pawn on d3 is really big weakness, or you go for the king side attack. Many great choices here for the chess queen.
Also bishop d7, bishop b5 ideas in the position are there. It's a big positional advantage which Alexandra has here. It's not so easy for Vaishali. She's offering a trade of the knight.
Big advantage, technically winning advantage apparently for Kostanyuk here. So knight c1, I think it drops some material. Knight takes on c1, bishop takes on c1, intermezzo move. I think knight takes on d3. Here, Black is close to winning. Now we have to check. What's happening in the game. Václav Finek against Marco Materia, because if Kostanyuk wins and Finek wins, Kostanyuk is out.
Yeah, something crazy is happening there. I see that Václav is getting a pawn on e6 knight now. Knight is there and computer is screaming that so much winning. But the time situation, there is absolutely no time for Václav. 15 seconds against 1 minute.
Wow, this is going to be a really dramatic moment here, and I think that also, obviously, Kostanyuk has no time to see what's happening here. She knows what's at stake here. D takes on c4, protects the pawn on g5. The position is really sharp. White goes for attack, knight e8, but 11 seconds only.
Yeah, he has not time to calculate here. One more time. If he wins, Alexandra is out for the final stage. She will not be there. But if there is a draw... But what's happening?
Is there a forced mate? Queen x g5, that's a mate! That's a mate!
Oh no,
Finnick
the
wins!
resignation. And with this victory, Václav Finnick is eliminating Alexandra Kostenuk away from the final stage. What a disappointing
Wow,
for
you could also
Alexandra.
see Alexander Kostyuk looking at the screen. Now she knows that doesn't matter what she does in this game. She does win her game, but what a disappointment because she was this close to make it to the final stage and it was still not enough.
That's so tense and so tough, but we still have games happening right now. I suggest to go to Matthias and against Yes or Dogmush.
All right, let's go to the game.
Sorry.
Yeah, Matthias Blumen versus Jezer Domoš here, bishop e3 here. The German player is in a big trouble here. Domoš has a completely winning position. Knight x on d4. Knight e2 is a checkmate.
Ooh,
No?
he's stepping away. There is...
Pretty sure that was a checkmate right there, but black is winning anyway.
Okay. No checkmates, but the pawn promotion.
All right, so
Okay,
this
black
game is
winning.
wrapping up. Levon of Roni against Jose Martinez.
What's happening there? We have an endgame. Black is breaking with f5.
So F5 happened, Knight C3. So here Ronian. By the way, Roni is doing really well in the Blitz tournament. He has 7.5 points out of 9. Jose has only 3 points.
And Levon is getting some really big advantage with Elevation Burst. Jumps up and down because both players are so low on the clock. King goes back to e6.
F3, Rook B3. Again, we see a lot of swings, and at this stage, it really matters who has the initiative. Black is trying to organize some counterplay. Knight G3, Knight E4. White should be winning this.
Yeah, there should be some definite advantage here for White, but how to convert it? Taking the pawn on G5, can you do it?
I don't know. I mean, there comes the counterplay for Black. Knight X on
Oh.
G5, King F6. You have to be a bit careful here.
Have to careful.
It's still a 3-result game.
So you have to be very careful here. Now Rook G1 is one of the threats in the position as well.
Takes on G5. White is up. How many pawns? Like, I think it's 2 pawns.
pawns,
Two pawns, but
yeah.
Black is getting pretty active. I mean, if he doubles the rooks on the final rank, it could be a mate.
Rook G1, Rook F1 are stepping away, targeting the pawn F3. Rook G3 is defending,
I think the scarier threat is if this rook at H8 is going to join the action.
but the 3 pawn is defended now, but it's falling still.
All right. White plays F4. The position is about to simplify. Is it going to be enough for Ronian to win this? Rook D4.
Before doubling, attacking 2 pawns. And at the end, we have 2 pawns on the king side against 1 on the queen side. Potentially should be some winning chances.
Yeah, the king is cut off, actually. I think here Black should be able somehow to draw this, but of course, when you have plus 2 seconds, it's maybe not enough. Wait, he just dropped the rook!
Oh no!
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
What a blunder.
my God, what a blunder. We still have one game, which is happening. Limle against Aydin Slimane. Let's go there. Oh,
So
another endgame. Bishop pair.
who's playing for the win here, actually? It's not very clear. I mean,
Not
white,
so clear.
black, I don't know. Both players got their passed pawns to bishop siege. I have a feeling this is going to fizzle out to a draw.
The pawns are being eliminated, and we're going to see the naked king very soon here. Yeah.
Yeah, and everything trades, and there's a draw. And with this game, ladies and gentlemen, the Blitz tournament in the Masters and Generation Challenge tournament is officially over.
Oh, this is absolutely crazy. Crazy day that we've had here, but let's take a look at the results of the final round in the Blitz portion. We see there was been only one draw between Aydin Slimane and Limle, and all the rest of the games were decisive. It's Levon Aronian who won his game, also Jezer Dogmush as well as Xiao Tong. But in the Generations Challenge, everything was decided in the last round, where Václav Finnick wins his game. Alexandra wins on D1, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah, it was this close. It was this close because at some point I think that Finnick was in a trouble. I mean, and he was like literally playing on seconds, but it did not happen. So I think we can confirm the players who made it to the final stage once again in the Masters tournament. These are the current rankings after the triathlon's first stage is over. Levon Aronian, Aydin Slimane, Jezer Domoš, and Limle, we're going to see them entering the final stage after tomorrow's rest day. But in Generation Challenge tournament, only 3 players will be making there, because Alexandra Kostyuk, despite the fact she finished in the 4th place with 15.5 points, she is behind the leader more than 12 points, and this means that she is unfortunately eliminated.
Yeah, we say goodbye to Vaishali, Carissa, Jose, Matthias. It was the last round that they played here. And meanwhile, I think also in the playing hall, we're getting ready for something special.
Yeah, I suppose they're going to greet the players, say goodbyes to them. Also, I think it will be also for us a great opportunity to at some point say goodbye to them, and hopefully that they could stay here. But now what's going to happen in the event? So the tournament, the triathlon seems to be over, right? Wrong. We still have the final stage, because the chess triathlon consists of the 3 tournaments, which are over: Classical, Rapid, and Blitz. We just saw the Blitz tournament wrapping up. But then tomorrow we have the rest day and also the International Chess Day. I'm pretty sure that everybody will be celebrating this with a proper champagne, whatever. But then the next day, the final stage is happening both in Masters and Challengers. So this means more classical games and a small round-robin tournament.
I love it. You know, when you feel like you've had it all, you had Chess 960, you had Rapid, you had Classical, now we had the Blitz, but the tournament is still ongoing. I absolutely love it, because, you know, tonight we're also going to have our own small party here, since tomorrow the rest day. Yeah, we're going to watch some FIFA World Cup finals. By the way, Arturs, who are you rooting for?
Spain.
It's not a secret, by the way. We have a video about it on our social media, so please follow our Instagram, YouTube. We have so many nice videos, impressions there, also some nice social media content. And yeah, tomorrow we'll have some rest. The players will have some rest, and then they'll be ready to start on Tuesday with a new classical round-robin tournament.
Again, more classical. Love classical chess. By the way, Angelica, are you also rooting for Spain?
I do.
You already said it on the record.
Team.
Yes. And I think also Bick is rooting for the state. Our amazing producer, who you're not seeing on the screen, who is making these productions possible.
The best of the best.
The best of the best. Really. So it was fun. You know, it's having some fun. So
our heads are rolling. We're getting crazy.
yeah. That's Bick, our lovely producer right there. So dear viewers, it was an amazing day of Blitz. So maybe before we leave, Angelica, some final words?
Absolutely exciting Blitz tournament, which shook up the leaderboard. We have seen some pretty big heartbreaks. Like, I really feel it for Alexandra. You know, I really wanted her to stay in the tournament and being there for the final stage. But chess is chess. Chess can be brutal, and that's what we experienced today.
Absolutely. It was really a nail-biting finish. So, dear viewers, I hope you enjoyed it. We definitely did enjoy it. We are going to try to get maybe some of the players join us as special guests if they're going to stay here in Biel. We are going to get back to that. But I'm hoping that you're having a great time, enjoying your summer. We're saying goodbye to you. Happy International Chess Day tomorrow. And we'll be seeing you on Tuesday. Have a great day and see you on Tuesday. Bye-bye.